The dark truth behind Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is seen as a day of love. Valentine's Day is marketed as such, with candy, usually heart-shaped candy and chocolates and things like that. But what if I told you there is a darker meaning behind this holiday? What if I told you this holiday is actually very satanic? What if I told you this holiday is actually Bell worship? Valentine's Day started as a day to celebrate decapitations because Valentinus, a Roman priest, he was arrested and was told if he could cure Asterius's daughter of her blindness, he would become a Christian. And legend says that Valentinus did cure the girl's blindness, and Asterius and his family did convert to Christianity. But when Emperor Gothicus discovered this, he ordered the execution of the family and the beheading of Valentinus. And from February 13th through the 15th, the Romans celebrated a feast known as Lupercalia. And the men sacrificed a goat and a dog and then would whip the women with the hides of the animals that they just slain. So this holiday has a darker meaning behind it. This holiday is satanic in nature. This holiday is not what it seems to be. It is marketed as a day that is innocent. It is marketed as a day that is just a day for love and compassion between two lovers. But it is anything but that. In fact, it is a day that is rooted in the occult and a day that is rooted in paganism, just like many of the other holidays that people celebrate. And even the heart symbol is rooted back to the occult because the heart symbol is actually a symbol for Bel. So everything revolving the holiday known as Valentine's Day is actually very satanic. It is not a day that is innocent. It is not a day of love. It is actually a day of evil. So this is why you see celebrities flash the heart symbol. This is why you see athletes and everything else flash this heart symbol, because this heart symbol is actually rooted back to Bel worship. So this is yet another symbol of Bel. This is satanic in nature. Valentine's Day is yet another satanic holiday. It is yet another day that is based on the occult. It is yet another day that is rooted in Satanism. Even Cupid dates back to Roman mythology because Cupid was ordered from Venus to shoot Psyche to make Psyche fall in love with a horrible monster. But instead, Cupid fell in love with Psyche because Venus was jealous. The reason that Venus was jealous is because Venus wanted to be worshipped, and people started to worship Psyche because of her beauty. This is another day that is rooted in the occult. This is why you see so many celebrities do the heart symbol, because they are doing a symbol for Bel worship. And Valentine's Day is actually Lupercalia. It is a day rooted in sacrifice. It is a day rooted in violence. It is a day rooted in beheadings. Just remember where the origins of Valentine's Day came from. The next time you go out to celebrate this day with your significant other, just remember that it is rooted in the occult. Just remember that it is rooted in Bel worship. A day that is marketed as love. A day that is marketed as compassion. A day that is marketed as a Hallmark day is actually a day that is rooted in Bel worship. Just like many of the other holidays that people celebrate, this one is no different. This is yet another satanic day. And just remember this next time you go out to celebrate this day, what it's really about and the origins of this day. And like the old saying goes, all roads lead to Rome. As always, I would ask that you would please like this video, share this video wherever you can think of sharing this video, commenting down below. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Truth Zone.
Declaring this day a day of celebrating St. Valentine, deceiving Christians into partaking in the festival that was initially created to worship.
Valentine's Day. It comes every year whether you like it or not.
Everybody's gonna love today, gonna love today, gonna love today.
It's the day when your love life is put on display.
I'd like to send a dozen of those to the best girl at my school.
For your wife.
I'm 10 years old.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Where there's always a chance for romance or disaster.
Okay, I'm gonna go now, okay.
It can be confusing,
It's Valentine's Day today?
Hello?
No, it's a Monday. Valentine's Day always falls on a Thursday.
Lose your head. That's Thanksgiving. So it can be complicated.
Alex and I
We're supposed to
have sex today.
Love can't be planned. It's not love she's talking about.
But at the end of the day, it's all about love. So how do you guys feel about each other?
Oh my gosh, I totally love him.
I'm crazy about her.
He even wrote his number on my hand.
We've lived with the idea that good is good enough. We've accepted the unacceptable, where average was just normal. But now, there is a new way. And everything will change.
Why 13? What is the reason?
Okay, I was born on the 13th. I turned 13 on Friday the 13th. My first album went gold in 13 weeks. Also, thanks. My first song that ever went number one, it had a 13-second intro.
Droid.
Droid DNA augmentation initiated. Neural speeds increasing to 4G LTE. Brain upgrading to a quad-core processor. Predictive intelligence with Google Now complete.
You can't play God without being acquainted with the devil. The problem, Bernard, is that what you and I do is so complicated. We practice witchcraft. We speak the right words, and we create life itself out of chaos.
Are you ready for? Are you ready for?
Introducing Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself.
And I even do that on purpose. And every time I've ever won an award at an award show, I've either been seated in the 13th row or row M, which is the 13th letter.
Wow.
And when I won the Horizon Award at the CMA Awards, the producer came up to me when I was sound checking and said, "All right, we're going to go in 13 seconds. There are so many numbers."
Wow. There you have it, young love, full of promise, full of hope, ignorant of reality.
Lupercalia was a festival of ancient Rome observed annually on February 14th. It has been traced back as far as the 6th century BC. It is named after the Roman fertility god, Lupercus. Lupercalia rituals began at Lupercal Cave with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. The sacrifices were performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. Afterwards, the foreheads of two naked Luperci were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. The blood was then removed with a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Luperci laughed. In ancient Rome, feasting began after the ritual sacrifice. When the feast of the Lupercal was over, the Luperci cut strips, also called thongs or februa, which is where we get the name of the month February.
As Time Magazine's Person of the Year for 2013, Pope Francis has been called the hope and change of the Vatican.
Every individual is unique, but Pope Francis, we'd have to say, is a little more unique
than most popes who have preceded him.
Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on December 17, 1936, Jorge Bergoglio earned a master's degree in chemistry and philosophy and a doctorate in theology. After training in a Jesuit seminary, Bergoglio became an ordained Catholic priest in 1969.
Francis is the first Jesuit pope. From the very beginning, he's been wearing more simple clothes, a more simple cassock without the elaborate sleeves and the red shoes and that kind of thing. That's all very typical of Jesuits.
In 1998, Bergoglio was named Archbishop of Buenos Aires and became well known for traveling to city slums to work firsthand with the poor.
When Pope Francis was Archbishop in Buenos Aires, he used to ride public transportation, and he used to criticize people in the clergy who had extravagant lifestyles. This also translated into his life as the Pope.
On March 13, 2013, at the age of 76, Bergoglio was named the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, becoming the first non-European and the first Jesuit priest to be named Pope. Bergoglio became the first Pope to take the name Francis, in honor of St. Francis of Assisi.
Francis is a name that no pope ever had chosen. And I think in his case, a fellow cardinal in the conclave who whispered to him, "Don't forget the poor." And it was at that moment he chose the name Francis. And it has embodied his entire style, not living in a papal palace, driving his old car, wearing simple clothes, same old shoes. That sort of thing is very striking.
Upon being named Pope, Francis abolished bonuses paid to Vatican employees upon the election of a new Pope, and named a group of 8 cardinals as advisors to bring reform to the Roman Catholic Church.
Pope Francis is a breath of fresh air in the governance of the church, and I think he's an answer to the prayers of many who have felt that the church was becoming too locked in on itself. His favorite expression is the church should not be self-referential. It should bring the gospel out to the world that so much needs it today. I think his election to the chair of Peter has been an enormous sign that the Holy Spirit is still working in the life of the church, and that here's a man who can really move the church forward in significant ways.
Gaius Octavius, better known as Augustus Caesar, was born into nobility on September 23, 63 BC, although he never recognized the title of emperor. Augustus Caesar was the first of the ruling Julio-Claudian dynasty to reign in Rome. Before Augustus's centralization of power, Rome was ruled by a series of suffects, but Augustus changed that entire system, becoming the sole ruler. His family, the Julians, gave birth to some of the greatest tyrants the world had ever seen, including the merciless Caligula and the mentally insane Nero. Members of the Julio-Claudian dynasty believed themselves to be descendants of another race from the Dawn Star, also known as the Venus. Members of this dynasty were so convinced that they descended from this otherworldly race that they would actually dress up as the goddess Venus. Even the ruthless Caligula would cross-dress and put on women's garbs that made him look like a goddess.
She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. I'm your Venus. I'm your fire, your desire.
Started with Caesar Augustus, born on September 23, 63 BC, who would adopt the title Divi Filius, which means Son of God.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the Holy See, followed by the national anthem of the United States.
President Trump, who attended Fordham, a Jesuit university, came
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the Holy See, followed by the national anthem of the United States.
President Trump, who attended Fordham, a Jesuit university, came face to face today with the first Jesuit pope. The rest is history.
Flammas eius, Lucifer matutinus inveniat. Ille in quam Lucifer qui nescito casum.
The uprising has begun. It's time to make good great again. It's time to be free.
These thongs were goat hide from newly sacrificed goats. They then ran naked or nearly naked around Palestine, whipping any woman within striking distance with the thongs. During Lupercalia, the men randomly chose a woman's name from a jar to be coupled with them for the duration of the festival.
The final night of the Lupercalia. Hoods hunt wolves, witches hunt warlocks. The outcome of the hunt shall determine the year ahead. Will it be bountiful or barren? Fruitful or fallow? Tonight we hunt and are hunted, releasing our blessed magics into the night. Warlocks, are you ready? And witches, are you ready?
There's a storm coming, Ari.
There is a storm coming!
There's a storm coming.
Storm coming, Mr. Wayne.
There's a storm coming, brother.
There's a storm coming.
There's a storm coming, Dr. Suresh.
There's a storm coming.
There is a storm coming, a black and terrible storm.
There's a storm coming!
I sense there's a storm coming.
There's a storm coming!
Alice says there's a storm coming.
There's a storm coming.
Storm's coming.
Storm coming soon.
A storm is coming, Frank says. A storm is coming. Our storm.
Storm's coming.
Storm's coming.
Storm's coming.
Storm's coming.
Storm's coming. The great storm is coming!
The festival extended to sinful acts including lust, adultery, drunkenness, fornication, homosexuality, and assault of minors and women. The term Valentine's Day comes from Saint Valentine, the patron saint of lovers. In the late 5th century AD, Pope Gelasius merged the pagan celebration of Lupercalia on February 14th, declaring this day a day of celebrating Saint Valentine, deceiving Christians into partaking in the festival that was initially created to worship the Roman god Lupercus.
Dorcas.
So how did you guys meet?
It's really funny, actually. Like, I was not into him at first. He used to shoot spitwads at me in Spanish class, which is like so junior high. But then one night I was brushing out my hair when I got home, and I found this spitwad, but it was really a note, and it said, "What's up?" And I was like, that is so cute. And then I liked it. Oh my God, baby, are you okay? Walk it off, baby. Just walk it off. You're still hot, baby. You're still hot.
Wow, you rolled out of that like a ninja.
He's usually really good at those.
Yeah, well, he's quite the athlete and you're quite the dancer, huh?
5, 6, 7, 8.
I think we're okay. We haven't seen that one.
There you go. She tell you the spitwad story?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she's mushy like that.
You like it.
I know. Ooh, I miss high school. There you have it, young love, full of promise, full of hope, ignorant of reality.
In a world that is blank, colorless, and cold, where banality grows like a fungus or a mold, there live the boring sheeple who look just like each other. A darker force right into town, unleashing demon brothers. Here come the little deviants. They come from underground. They're rising from the depths to take those sheeple down. The sheeple are compliant and make for fine ingredients. For customizing anything, here come the little deviants. These are the little deviants.
This is the world you're graduating into. This is what I want to talk about today. To lead and shaping a new world order, 21st century.
Everything they told you was a lie.
Who are you?
Are you ready for it?
And we create life itself out of chaos.
The brand new synthetic standard domestic profile installed. This is the best thing you will do for your family.
Hello, Joe. I don't want one around the kids.
You're taking it back.
I'm not taking it back.
One of these bad boys can do 10 times what the D series can do.
I'm happy with the one I've got.
You brought it into the house and we don't know anything about it.
It's a machine.
You claim there are a handful of synthetics who can think and feel.
You're pretending to be so much less than what you are.
We can't keep insisting that they are just gadgets. We have made them more than that.
I can't leave you, George.
The human and the machine, the lines are blurring.
Run!
I'm watching you. I'm watching you too, Laura.
It's a fourth industrial revolution. It's a fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. It's changing not only what we are doing, it's changing who we are.
It's really the notion of digital technology pervasively impacting every walk of life in every vertical industry on all parts of the globe.
Whether it's information technology and the acceleration we see in artificial intelligence, a lot is happening.
Society and how we're going to live is being defined right now.
The speed is mind-boggling. What I'm particularly concerned about is how little the world is prepared.
Harnessing this revolution requires the involvement of all stakeholders, from public and private sectors to academia and civil society.
The world has changed. We can never, ever go back to yesterday.
Hi! Choose your setting.
French cinema. High school principal instrumental in my sexual awakening. One of the boys.
Yeah, I actually really want to play FIFA.
Totally did. Not trying at all, but still conventionally attractive. Toxicity setting, 0%.
I love you for who you are.
60%.
I killed all your houseplants because I'm the only thing you should care for.
20%.
I'll just have a bite of yours.
10%.
Sometimes I won't message you back until you double text me.
I have the potential to imagine the unimaginable. See the unseeable. With the arsenal of the world's new technology at my fingertips, I now have the ability to invent the uninventable.
Belief in astrology, 0%.
Astrology is a load of crap.
20%.
I think tarot card readings are highly subjective, but very applicable.
60%.
I cheated on you because of my Saturn return.
100%.
We can't leave the house. You for who you are.
60%.
I killed all your houseplants because I'm the only thing you should care for.
20%.
I'll just have a bite of yours.
10%.
Sometimes I won't message you back until you double text me.
I have the potential to imagine the unimaginable. See the unthinkable. See the unseeable. With the arsenal of the world's leading technology at my fingertips, I now have the ability to invent the uninventable.
Belief in astrology, 0%.
Astrology is a load of crap.
20%.
I think tarot card readings are highly subjective, but very applicable.
60%.
I cheated on you because of my Saturn return.
100%.
We can't leave the house.
Libido setting, 0%.
Touch me and I'll cut you.
20%.
All right, fine, but no eye contact.
40%. 100%. Oh, James back.
You know I have access to your search history, right?
You gave me the anyway! Rebranding into its future, Intel has enlisted House of Bada to collaborate on a project that will showcase technology through creativity at the highest level. Our partnership will culminate in a performance that inspires to remind the world of the seed of innovation, the wizard behind the curtain, the mind behind the machine. Intel.
one day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils.
Hello.
Play jazz.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember, tandleken at 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
Sånn. Så skal vi sette en til.
Ja. Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Wrong. Voice command.
Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey, open door.
Play on the floor.
Sick on the floor.
Get over the door. Open the door. Open the door.
Error.
Hey, here. With a rock. Open door. Open door. Higher.
Higher volume.
Higher.
Higher.
Open door.
Door open.
Radio on.
Playing radio.
And do lights.
Lights on.
Protein shake.
Making protein shake.
New York.
Loading New York. Set speed.
4.
4.
6.
6.
Child of 16.
16.
4.
Error.
Look, you're 16. 4.
4.
16.
Correction. 16.
Up there.
Hello. She was too young. Oh, hey, Bianca. Good luck. And I was too young.
Up.
9, 9, 9, down.
Lights down.
Only 16. Only 16.
4.
Ja, één klas ingenom. Her er Summer of 69.
69.
Her er neste låt. Også en klassiker.
74. 75. You are breaking the world record. 75. 4. Louder, please. Stopping.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Trust in me.
What's up, y'all? It's Flex, and welcome back to my channel. Major warning signs are coming, and like everything is a warning sign. But we're almost just like desensitized to it at this point. I mean, my Patreon followers, you know. We'll talk about a couple more, but it's like, at what point we will automatically just start tuning it out because we just don't want to hear it anymore. And then when it comes, we'll be like, yeah, well, like, we knew, but like, what could we have done? Some people are like, Flex, just stick to the news. Just talk about, the news. Well, at what point do we realize that it's all ish and giggles? Because something like this, it's like, okay, like, is this what you want me to cover? You want me to cover this? 12 Senate Republicans vote to send Ukraine another $60 billion after vowing to put U.S. border first. It's a dog and pony show. They're in a club, okay? And we ain't in it. They're not representing you, okay? There's millions and millions of children in America starving right now. They don't care. You gotta put the headmaster of their priority club first, right? What if they won't have lunch tomorrow? They gotta send them another $60 billion. You gotta have the best caviar. You don't get no Lunchable. Watch out if you in northern Minnesota. I don't even know why they sell shower heads without filters already attached. Why they make them in houses without the filter already on it. I grew up in a household where it was a given because the fluoride, for one, okay, that's in all of the water all over the entire United States. The fluoride deception, get the book, okay? They put fluoride in the water of the concentration camps to make the people dumb and more easier to control. That's just a very common understanding. Operation Paperclip, when they brought it over, all good. But this, we're seeing outbreaks of diseases that can kill you coming through your shower head in Minnesota. Ain't a joke. Don't worry, antibiotics will help you though. Make sure you got your health insurance and make sure we got those pharmaceutical companies' pockets heavily lined so you stay alive. Or just get a shower filter. They say, don't worry, no one died this year. Okay, well, it's only because it's been a couple months into this year. Last year, many people have died from this crazy ailment coming through the shower head. Symptoms are similar to pneumonia. People that are ages 50 and plus. It's like right before every election, something horrible comes out that targets the elderly, aka the conservatives. All right, like just like the last election. What was the huge pandemic that came out and wiped out half our voting population? Idaho, in one of our last videos, We talked about how Utah is building these railways that are going up to Idaho and then like south to Las Vegas. And it's concerning because of what Utah has been in the news lately for, AKA Utah Attorney Levitt. We got our eyes on you with your organization to help children. Now they got railways going up to Idaho when cannibalism is legal in Idaho. A nice try, Idaho House, thinking that they're doing something good for the children when they're saying, oh, don't worry, we're making a new law. We're going to say the death penalty is now going to be a thing for people that do child crimes. I appreciate the effort because not many other states do, but they still have the cannibalism thing going on. If they want to cover their tracks of their crime, they roast the child and they eat it. And then there's no proof that there was a crime. Do you understand? Cannibalism is legal in Idaho. So what's the point of having a law that says oh, don't worry, we're going to give you the death penalty? Of having a law that says, oh, don't worry, we're going to give you the death penalty. Who in their right mind is going to be like, okay, I'm just going to go accept the death penalty now? They already did a heinous crime. You don't think they're going to follow up the other? They know their laws. The predators, the people that commit the worst crimes, they know the laws the best, okay? You know this. They all know, all the predators in Idaho know that they're allowed to be cannibals under their law. But nice try, dude. All right, let's see what they have to say.
And that the penalties would be in line with that of first-degree murder.
There is a deep, dark side in our culture, and it's our job to protect the children. There are times when things are so wicked that retribution is appropriate. It would be very rare that this case would happen, but it will happen. And I say to you that when you see that case, you read about it in the newspaper, you're going to say, this is the one case that this needs to happen.
Now, the bill sponsors say their hope is that the U.S. Supreme Court will review the Idaho bill if it becomes law and therefore issue a ruling that would expand the eligibility for the death penalty. The House approved the bill in a 56-12 vote. The bill next heads to the Senate for committee review.
So that's the other thing is the United States Supreme Court has to approve of it because they already have this law in place that it's not allowed. And they're just hoping that, they change their mind on it. So do you really think that the current Supreme Court under Joey B is going to do anything? I mean, anything regarding children, if they actually want it to go through, they'll just wait until maybe we can get Trump in. But why would you even waste your breath doing it under this administration? You already know what their views are, unless you don't want it to go through. North Carolina, you guys know what's up with all these boarding schools that people can pay a bunch of money and send their bad child away to. Another one of those is coming down the pipeline in North Carolina. This is not the first time that children have died at this school, and not by accident either. Okay, so there is a child that was murdered because he was found with poison in him in North Carolina. I always get concerned about the North Carolina laws because I think you can marry at any age here. If a child is abused, their perpetrator can marry them so they don't have to go to jail and register as an S offender. If their parents, get paid enough money and they sign off on paperwork, they can marry off their child in North Carolina. Okay, like all the politicians in North Carolina are well aware of this. There's video footage of people going up to them and being like, dude, when are you going to change this? And they hush them up and they rush off the stage real quick. This is North Carolina. Pray for the child, 12 years old. The sheriff says this is a very suspicious death, found foaming at the mouth, ingested some sort of poison. Parents are signing over all rights of the child to the facility when they send them away to these types of things. So they can't get sued. And then this happens. So at this point, the parents don't care about the children. So it's up to y'all to help change the legal system. All right. Because some parents out there just don't care anymore. I say they need to get more psychologists and people trained in how to handle children that maybe just have attention issues. Sometimes we have to sort of help out society and make things more aware because these things are going to be brushed right under the rug. Okay. Many other states have crazy.
You can marry a 9-year-old in 5 states in the U.S. It's literally legal. There's no age restriction in these states. So technically, if you have parent and court permission, you can marry an infant. There's 12 million minors that are married on this planet right now. We got to actually do something about this. This is absolutely absurd.
Our children are not safe in America. This needs to go. Michael Jackson warned us that this is something that has been maybe maybe something that has been in the works since our children have been very young. Programming, conditioning our children through music.
Singers, when they sing songs, it's like a mantra. You repeat a chorus over and over and over. So when a kid hears a song and he starts singing that chorus over and over and over, then you start to hear it in the alpha state, into the subconscious mind. So you start to become a song or become what you're saying.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local recordings are now available on StreamYard. Have you ever done a recording where your guest just had terrible internet issues? They were blurry, they were freezing, you could almost hardly hear them. Well, with local recordings from StreamYard, you'll be able to download a perfect quality video from your guest after the show. This means that no matter what you or your guest's internet connection is like, you'll be able to download the perfect high quality recording every single time. You can also
Right, so I just looked up, what is the most popular song today? It's called "Lovin' on Me" by Jack Harlow. This is what everybody is listening to right now. Is atop the charts. Okay, what are the lyrics of this song that are becoming the mantra of our youth? I can't even say it out loud because it's that explicit, and it's on the top of the billboards. So you've been warned. When ish hits the fan, like what we talked about in our Patreon video, the government's not going to come to help us. And they literally told the FBI director literally told the sheriff that no one's coming for us. So we have to start the sheriff's already starting to train citizens on how to take care of local communities, training citizens to take care of themselves because the government already said they're not coming for us when this happens because it's going to. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Literally said that. We can only complain so much about changing these child laws, but at the end of the day, you know what you got to do. You just have to be hyper focused on your own bubble, your local community. After you put your own mask on, then you can put the person's mask on next to you, like in the airplane. So thank you so much for joining me here on the channel. I join you here on YouTube Tuesday through Friday around 8 p.m. EST, but I've been a little bit sick lately, so I haven't been making it every single time. But if I'm not going to be on, I will let you know in my community tab on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified at the exact time that I go live. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already, and follow me on social media platforms. The links to my socials will be beneath this video as well. Links referenced in this video are posted on Rumble, where I cite all my sources if you want to further look into things. Don't forget to follow us on Patreon. We post an exclusive video on there once a week, patreon.com/wristflex. Shout out to my channel members. Hi, Glenn. Hi, Michael. If you guys want to further support the channel, you can hit that join button, and I greatly appreciate everybody. Wowza, so nice to see you here too. I appreciate everybody's support. You're very helpful. Thank you so much. Lorna, thank you. Thank you for all of the well wishes. Yes, hopefully my voice will heal pretty soon, and I don't go completely voiceless like I did last week. All right, I love you. I hope you stay safe. I hope you meditate and pray to God, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.
What did you all see in there? What'd you hear?
I heard a bunch of, so there was one shot first, and then there was a set of shots.
What did you all see? What did you all see in there? What'd you hear?
I heard a bunch of, so there was one shot first, and then there was a set of shots. And then we started running, and there was multiple sets of shots. I can't really count them. It was at least 5 times that they shot multiple times altogether.
You say they, more than one person?
I don't know.
So just so you know, she just came out, all right, she was holding hands with her boyfriend. They ran for their safety. So I know you like to ask questions, all right? And those intricate questions, she's not going to be able to answer.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I really didn't see anything. I just ran for my life.
You just heard the gunshots and ran?
Yeah, I was like, I'm from New York, so in New York, you don't see that stuff often, so.
So just so you know, she just came out, all right, she was holding hands with her boyfriend. They ran for their safety. So I know you like to ask questions, all right? And those intricate questions, she's not going to be able to answer.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I really didn't see anything. I just ran for my life.
You just heard the gunshots and ran?
Yeah, I was like, I'm from New York, so in New York, you don't see that stuff often, so. Yeah, you don't see that stuff often, so. Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of the Truth Zone. As always, this is your host, Truth Seeker here. And there was a lot more satanic symbolism involving this year's Superb Owl. Case in point, some of the commercials that aired were full of satanic symbolism. Case in point, you had this commercial with Beyonce or the clone of Beyonce or whoever this is, draped in all red. Red means war. You had the 2 red teams in the Superb Owl Bowl. Also pay attention to the multiple arms forming behind her. It kind of represents Shiva, the god of destruction. So what could they be telling you through all of this symbolism? Is there a coming destruction? Because they will constantly put this symbolism. They will constantly show you the same repetitions over and over and over again in different ways, in different commercials, because these people are puppets. So it's very interesting how they had the Shiva symbolism last night, when the color red means war. So what could they be telling you? Is there a coming event that's going to bring chaos, that's going to bring war? We have all this stuff currently happening and going on. So you have really got to question and wonder what they could be hinting at, because the last time these two teams played in the Superb Owl Bowl was 4 years ago. And shortly after that, a certain something happened. So what could they be hinting at through all this? What could they be ushering in through all of this stuff? Because they portrayed Shiva in another ad too. This was an ad by Bud Light, and you see the multiple arms forming once again. So they continue to push this symbolism constantly in different ads, and you've got to pay attention to these things, because these ads are another form of mind control, because television is a form of mind control in general. Also in the Beyonce ad, you have this weird part with this AI version of Beyonce, and they've been pushing AI a lot more. It's like the AI takeover. You also had her on the horse, representing the horse of the apocalypse. She's been seen on the horse before in the past, but here is like an AI version of Beyonce. This could also represent a form of cloning, because this new Beyonce does not look anything really like the old Beyonce. It's also very interesting how she has the blonde hair now, because the blonde hair is usually associated with mind control. MK Ultra. Plenty of celebrities, Kanye included, have at one point or another had their hair blonde. Then speaking of the UFO stuff, I've covered this in a past video. There was even another commercial. This commercial was for apartments.com. And for some reason or another, they decided to say, hey, let's have aliens in this commercial. Now, why is that? Is this more of a hint at their coming false religion that they're going to usher in through Project Bluebeam, when they try to stage a fake alien invasion? Because there was a lot of alien symbolism, UFO symbolism throughout the night and some of these ads. So it really makes you wonder what they could be telling you, what they could be hinting at with this. Because what does an alien have to honestly do with apartments? And I know you're going to have some people be like, oh, they were in Vegas, they're playing off of the Area 51, stuff. And be that as it may, it's still pretty eerie that more and more commercials and stuff like that are having this alien stuff in it. And if you pay attention to the apartments.com logo, you will notice the pentagram is right there in the middle of the logo. So they are definitely hinting at something. And even in the Oreo commercial that aired during the Superb Owl Bowl, you even had another scene with aliens. So there's yet another UFO scene. Constantly throughout, they do the same repetitions over and over and over, constantly. It never fails. And there was even more commercials that had the UFO symbolism, but I covered those in a previous video on the channel. You can go back and check it out if you would like to. But it's just right there. Like, they're constantly pushing this symbolism, constantly over and over and over again. It gets tiresome to a point when you're awake and you're taking all this stuff in. Now, I'm not, pretending to be high and mighty, like, oh, look at me, I'm awake, and, anything like that. So, because I've been there, I've been in that position at one point before I woke up. I was under that spell. I was under that delusion that, oh, football's real, this and that, and politics are real. There was even this Discover ad that was even talking more about AI. So there was a theme throughout the night too in these ads. It was pushing more AI symbolism. Here's this ad. Check this out.
Discover customer service. This is Maya.
Oh, hi, Maya. You robots are sounding more human.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company.
Human every day.
Oh, I am human.
It's like I'm talking to a human.
At Discover, everyone can talk to a human representative.
All right, prove it.
Wait, are you a robot?
Oh. How would I prove that I'm not?
24/7 US-based customer service.
Do you feel like a robot?
It pays to discover.
And I already covered the Squarespace alien stuff in a previous video. Go check it out. It's on the channel. But shout out to Donut Factory. He actually pointed this out about on the screen, how there was this weird like Illuminati type ritual going on the television screen. And I completely missed it, but there it is right there. They're wearing the weird, in this scene, they are wearing the black hoods. It's almost reminiscent of somebody else that's been wearing the black hoods. And I will show you here in a second. And on the left side, you see the one eye symbolism. So it's all right there for everybody to see. And it's interesting that it's being portrayed on the television because it's the live vision. And the reason this is interesting is because Kanye and Playboy Cardi, they've been wearing these weird hoods too. It's almost the same thing going on with the hoods that these people have been wearing. So it's just weird. It's more satanic Illuminati symbolism. That is all that this is. And here's Kanye standing next to Playboy Cardi wearing it. It's just right there for everybody to see. It's just absolutely disgusting stuff. How they continue to push this stuff. The Superb Elbow alone was completely staged. It was completely scripted. It was completely rigged to push certain agendas. Check this clip out.
Mahomes ends up with 333 yards. Why is that significant? The stadium's address is 3-3-3-3 Al Davis way.
And speaking of threes, you also had them win by a total of 3 points. It's just a lot of threes because they love the 33 number. And when Mahomes threw the game-winning touchdown to end the game, there was 3 seconds left on the clock. So there's more three symbolism right there for everyone to see. You really couldn't have scripted this stuff any better. It's a bunch of rigged and scripted propaganda. That is all this is, and it is pushing certain agendas. I'm hoping that more and more people will finally wake up to this now that they let Taylor Swift win in her 13th game attending. It's just laughable. And then you had Travis Kelce, one of the biggest sellouts of all, flashing the 666 hand sign, and this is the Chiefs' 3rd Super Bowl. So there's more three stuff. And it was on the All Seeing Eye network on top of that. So they constantly had to shove this stuff right in front of your face. It is staged, it is rigged, it is scripted, it is nothing more than a distraction to push agendas. That's all it is used for. It is a energy harvesting ritual. And it is used so people spend all of their money, all of their time, all of their focus on this stuff. It is just absolutely sickening stuff. Also, the fact that Mahomes finished the game with 333 passing yards is laughable too, because his full name in reverse gematria adds up to 333. Oh yeah, and his father, the week prior to the Superb Elbow, was arrested for his 3rd DUI. So there's more 33 connections. Oh yeah, speaking of all the satanic stuff going on, you had Ice Spice. Some of you are probably like, who in the world is this? Great question. Her music is absolutely awful, but she is one of Taylor Swift's best friends. Wink, wink, maybe more than that. Who knows? But she was wearing an upside down cross. And the weird thing is, I believe that Playboy Carti, who I talked about earlier, gifted her this. And then she was also flashing the Baphomet hand sign, if it's even really a she to begin with. But that's another discussion for another time. Same with Taylor. But anyways, be that as it may, she was constantly flashing the Baphomet hand sign, wearing the upside down cross. It was just pure mockery last night. Also, the shirt she was wearing, it looked almost like the priest collar in a roundabout way too, which was pretty interesting stuff because the Jesuits run the
At Tango, we're always thinking about space. Okay, not that kind of space, even though that would create interesting real estate opportunities. We're talking about the spaces that companies and their employees use to get the job done. And those spaces are always changing, now more than ever. That's why we
show. It's just all there for everyone to see constantly. What else is interesting too is Joe Biden posted this after the Chiefs won, just like we drew it up, proving more and more that the NFL and all sports are rigged, are scripted, and it's rituals that push certain agendas. Again, politics is another agenda. It's another sham, but they push certain agendas in politics. It's a way to divide. It's a way to distract. But it's interesting he chose the laser eyes because of DEWs. So it's very interesting what he chose. Just more symbolism constantly, more agendas being pushed through sports, through everything, through music, movies, TV shows. They're constantly pushing certain agendas. Constantly. It's just laughable. All of the stuff that they continue to push, that they continue to promote constantly. It's just sickening stuff. And how anyone believes that this crap is real, especially after he posted this, I hope that it wakes more and more people up. Because this stuff is as scripted as the WWE. At least the WWE admits that they are rigged, scripted. NFL, on the other hand, They need to come out and just admit it to, because it's quite evident at this point that this stuff is rigged. But that about covers the rest of the symbolism that I noticed. And I just wanted to make another video to point all of this out. I can't thank you enough for all of your continued support. Please hit the like button, share this video wherever, comment on the video. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. God bless each and every one of you. And this is Truth Seeker signing out.
44-763-9543. That's
And he's in favor of banning the bang bangs. And here we have another 6. That adds up to 6. And people are... Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org, also peggyhall.substack.com, February 14th, 2024. Here we go again. Well, I did a video for you a couple of days ago about my, my opinion, my analysis of what happened on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, but more importantly, what happened at the mass shooting incident, I'll put it that way, at the Lakewood Church, and Joel Osteen's rather surprising expressions when he said that he was devastated. Now, the disclaimer is that YouTube, and rightly so, does not allow for questioning of these events because they are real. And so I'm not here to question anything, of course. Those of you with the ability to discern and to apply your critical thinking skills can do all the questioning you want. But I do want to follow up on that video because there were a couple of things that I think some people didn't understand. Not you, my savvy, sophisticated, supportive, and smart healthy Americans, but all y'all in the back row that didn't quite understand satire. So we're going to have a little bit of a review every once in a blue moon. I feel the need to analyze my own video because apparently I fell down on the job and my ability of expressing myself fell short. So I do feel compelled to also bring you coverage of the continuing chaos because would you believe, who would ever have scripted? Who would ever have thought that there could actually be another bang bang event surrounding the Super Bowl? Yet there was today in Kansas City. And wait until I share with you words from the mayor. Oh yes, it's almost like he wants to be in that club where these other incidents took place because he probably already has the t-shirts made up, the t-shirts that say Kansas City strong. Now, I do want you to know that my heart does go out, my heart and prayers go out to anyone that is not going to get the full amount of money and hush money that they were promised for taking part in this. So my heart does go out to them. And I know there are plenty of you that are going to call me, how does it go? It's not a very Christian response of yours, Peggy, for poking fun. I'm just calling it like I sees it. And for all of you who have not yet developed the God-given discernment that only comes through the Holy Spirit, really, to understand when the evildoers are trying to spin their web of evil deceit, I will continue to pray for you because that's the Christian thing to do. So let me backtrack a little bit, and then I'm going to share with, why don't I just share with you some images right now, because I think this is a very important thing to do. So before I go any further, Travis Kelce, who was, he was nominated by his teammates to be the team captain because he's the quarterback. Oh, he's not the quarterback? Oh, he's the tight end. Yes. And that's why he was nominated to be the captain of the team so that he could receive the previously awarded Super Bowl trophy. Oh, no, it wasn't. It happened on the field. Okay, that's right. So he just happened to be there with his girlfriend, Taylor Swift, who has, for some reason, brought in a whole bunch of more, is that the right grammatically correct way of saying it? Who has inspired many more fans to follow the Super Bowl, including young girls who like to follow that performer. And I do use the word correctly, a performer named Taylor Swift. And of course, as Joel Osteen, many of you correctly remember his name spelled that way, as he so correctly stated that there was very swift action taken in the aftermath of this bang bang incident. Yes, I'm going all over the board here because it's going all over the board. And wouldn't you know that this Travis Kelce, who's in the news, well, let's just take a look at what else he's been saying, shall we? And here we have it. Let me share my screen, and we are over here. And he says there needs to be more strict gun laws, especially when toddlers are dying. We can't have that in our communities. I wonder, just out of curiosity, if he cares about the toddlers that haven't been born yet. I haven't had a chance to determine where he stands on, the right to life issue, as I'll put it, because it is a Christian thing to do. So I wonder where he stands on those toddlers that are dying before they even had a chance to become toddlers. Inquiring minds want to know. The other thing that he stands for is becoming a human pincushion. So let me share this other image, and we'll hop right on over here. And well, here's the man of the hour himself with another man of the hour. Excuse me. That's the girlfriend, of course. And here's another image. And look at that. He's so happy with the millions and millions of dollars that he got for promoting other people to become human pincushions. There's 2 of the Band-Aids because he really likes Joshy Green New Deal, who wears the Band-Aids also, although these are not children's Band-Aids, and I'm wondering why. Well, it must be because he cares about the toddlers so much. So here's the news. The breaking news is that there is a lot of confusion. There's a lot of where's happy with the millions and millions of dollars that he got for promoting other people to become human pincushions. There's 2 of the Band-Aids because he really likes Joshy Green New Deal, who wears the Band-Aids also, although these are not children's Band-Aids, and I'm wondering why. Well, it must be because he cares about the toddlers so much. So here's the news. The breaking news is that there is a lot of confusion. There's a lot of conflicting information. And I actually was watching a live coverage here, if I can find it here, from what's going on in Kansas City right now. So let me bring you up to date, and then I'm going to analyze my previous video and tell you what apparently I got wrong. Yeah, so here we go. Kansas City. Oh, I wanted to say, if you don't care for satire and me trying to outwit the nitwits with my own code words, you probably should watch another video starting now. Okay, we got that out of the way. Kansas City, the mayor says, Quentin Lucas says that Kansas City has joined the club of places that have experienced major bang, bang events. That's the mayor's quote. He felt incredibly upset. I'm giving you the quote. And this is from the Washington Post, who has the tagline, "Democracy dies in darkness." I kind of wish it would, because we're a republic. So the Washington Compost, as some have said, says that the Kansas City mayor has felt incredibly upset that he, his family, and hundreds of Kansas City fans had to run for safety when the shots were fired Wednesday. I'm reading right from the article. This is a day that a lot of people look forward to, something they remember for a lifetime, he says in a news concert, press concert, because it's a performance. And what they shouldn't have to remember is the threat of the bang bang violence marring a day like this. With the shooting at the end of Wednesday's parade, Lucas said that Kansas City has joined the club of places in America disturbed by bang bang violence. It's never the person. I think we need to get this straight once and for all. An individual is not responsible for the violence. It is the bang bang. It's the instrument itself. Just as if somebody had a brick and they threw it at, I don't know, I don't want to promote this, so I'm not going to say a name of anyone, but let's say they threw it at a person's head. Hello, it's not the perpetrator's fault who threw the brick. It's the brick. We need to get rid of bricks. I know they can be used for a good purpose, like building houses and building walls, but come on, it is a violent object. So we definitely should have some regulations surrounding bricks. And all snark aside, that is going to happen with the slice them and dice them, the little implement that you use in the kitchen. That will be highly regulated, because you can absolutely harm somebody with that. So the Kansas City mayor goes on to say, I wish we lived in a world where we wouldn't have to see incidents like that. You know what? I agree with him. I wish we lived in a world where the mainstream media merry-go-round didn't promote incidents like this. I'll just put it that way. And let's see. People are offering their prayers for people in Kansas City. And offensive lineman Trey Smith said, I have a huge thank you to the first responders who ran toward the sound of danger. You're the ones who should be celebrated today. As with several other chiefs, Charles Omenihu, I'm sure that's the correct pronunciation, offered prayers for the victims at the parade. The 26-year-old defensive lineman went on to share his frustration with the bang bang laws. How many more people have to die to say enough is enough, he wrote on Twitter. It's too easy for the wrong people to obtain bang bangs in America, and that's a fact, he said. So obviously, the only answer is to make it harder for the law-abiding people to not get their hands on the bang bangs. It makes perfect sense. Like all of the construction workers, hello, they should not be able to obtain bricks because they are a weapon of violence. The Chiefs issued a statement confirming that all of their players and their staff and their families were all safe. That just goes to show what kind of danger they were in. The team thanked the law enforcement and the first responders, and it expressed sympathy for the victims, which I have not been able to find yet in terms of the information I have. So even the person impersonating the president has been briefed on the Kansas City shooting and will continue receiving updates per a White House report. The White House officials were said to have been in contact with local leaders while law enforcement was at the scene in a supporting role. So law enforcement, just the summary, responds to the shooting at Union Station today. And all I could find was that it says several people were shot. That's all I have, and I'm sure that's all we're ever going to know. If you have more, please let me know. And I do want to share with you this picture. So I'm on the Washington Post, and let me share my screen here. And I think this is interesting, that the image that was selected, now these people are running for cover, but these people are also running for cover, even though they're sitting down. It's so dangerous that they decided that taking a seat would be the smarter thing to do. And I can't blame them, because after all, she's got on the jersey that says 15. This person of indeterminate gender has on a 15, and this person has a 15. So that would be 666. Now I have a whole list of things on. I made a list last night. I couldn't sleep thinking about how I left you with the video that many people didn't understand. So I have my notes here, and one of the notes was to explain 666. Apparently people don't know what that means. So it's basically the devil. All right. It comes from the Bible, and the Bible says that the mark of the beast carries the number 666. So this probably was completely a random picture that they took. Obviously, that has no meaning other than they like that team player. And because I don't follow football and I don't watch football games, I wouldn't be able to tell you which player that is. But what I'll do, let's do this together. I don't think I ever really do this. I normally prepare all of my videos in advance, but because this is breaking news, we're going to look together. So let's analyze together, shall we? And this is from the Washington Post. These are photos from the scene following the bang bang incident near Kansas City's Super Bowl rally. Now, of course, it has nothing to do with the fact that they're just with the Super Bowl game and that Taylor Swift is the, how do I put it? Girlfriend of Kelsey. And he's in favor of banning the bang bangs. And here we have another 6, that adds up to 6, and people are, running for their lives. That's what I see. All right, let's take a look at another picture. I'm assuming that's what they're going to share with us. Okay, here's another picture. All right, people take cover during the bang bang. That's exactly what it looks like. I see all sorts of people taking cover, especially this guy that we saw earlier. Yeah, that's a good tagline, Washington Post, for this during their victory parade. We saw that one. People flee. It kind of looks like they're fleeing, doesn't it? Okay. Law enforcement personnel clear the area. Okay. Following the bang bang incident, people take cover during the incident. I need to go back to the dictionary. Apparently, I'm not familiar with the phrase take cover. I'm not matching it up with my reality. And here we are. Fans leave the area after the shots were fired. I'm getting conflicting information from their tagline. Let's do this. We should take a bet on what do you think the next incident is going to be. That would be a good one. And will it involve Kansas City? I'm not a betting person, but I bet that's going to happen. So let's go back to the video that I did on Monday. And it was all about what happened in the Lakewood church. And, here's what's interesting. I normally, after these events, when I help you draw conclusions, because YouTube doesn't want me to, so I will present the evidence and then allow you to draw your conclusion. What's funny is the conclusions that are often drawn by people. So I presented a video showing the ever jovial Joel, okay, Osteen, Holstein. Some people told me the ethnic background of that name. And what I thought was interesting is I was showing you how his gestures and his facial expression and his voice and his body language was a disconnect. All right. And it was a disconnect when he himself used the words, "We are devastated." Now, I didn't put the words in his mouth, but his image didn't show that. And I pointed that out. And some people, not you smart ones, but some people drew the conclusion that I didn't like Joel Osteen and that I didn't care for his church and that I was poking fun at this pastor who, is not a prosperity pastor. He teaches the gospel as far as I'm concerned. And, but I didn't even mention that in that video, not at all. But what's interesting to me is people did a logical fallacy where they attacked me personally. It's called an ad hominem attack, meaning they were not even able to answer or respond to the numerous points that I brought up, the factors such as, well, you'll have to watch that video. I had several of them. And somebody else pointed out another one that I missed on my list. And that was the fact that there was the active shooter drill previous to that event at the Lakewood church. I need to add that to my list. But what they did is instead of refute the facts that I actually presented, they did an attack on me. I'm so clever and it's so ineffective at the same time. So the other thing that happens is whenever I do one of these events, without fail, there will be 1 or maybe 2, maybe even 3 people that I've never heard comment or seen comment on my channel before. And they will say, you know what, my daughter's best friend's cousin knows somebody who knows that shooter. And you know what? I'm sure that's true. But what's interesting is when I ask them for follow-up information, which is called evidence, it's a silly thing. It's to figure out whether or not something is valid or whether they just pull it out of their hat. I never hear from them again. It's so interesting. And then when I click on their name to see how long they've been on YouTube, like they just made an account that day, I guess, in order to comment on my video. So like in Ohio and all the other places, I lose track, all the other places where these authentic events have happened, they make these comments. I never hear from them again. It's astonishing. Okay, here's another one. Somebody said, and this was a really good point. They said, how is it that they have the ID of the perpetrator so quickly? Like, how did they get it? How are they? And that's such a good point. And how are they able to get all of that personal medical information so quickly and broadcast it on the news when I had to go to the dermatologist the other day? And luckily, I know how to get in, breathing oxygen. And the thing is that they made me sign all of this paperwork electronically to give them the approval to share with my husband any information. And those of you who are going to be concerned, I just had a little tiny spot here that they zapped off because I'm in the sun all the time. And I don't wear sunscreen, don't tell YouTube, but I don't want to put those toxic chemicals on my skin. Anyhow, the point being, I had to sign all of these documents, giving them permission to release private, personal, individual, protected by law medical information. Yet they're splashing it all over the news. How do you like them apples? All right. Somebody mentioned to me when I mentioned that there were these reunification centers, which is kind of strange because these were all adults at a church. Why do you need a reunification center? Was everybody suddenly scattered? A couple of comments that I thought were really good on this. And one insight was that usually had to do with schools when children were being let out of school and taken to a safe space. And then the parents were coming to pick them up. So that didn't really apply in this church setting. And the other thing I thought was interesting is they said that reunification has to do with a type of religious cult practice, like the reunification of the soul. So I'll leave that for others to go down that rabbit hole. But I thought it was a very interesting insight. Now, a couple other comments that you guys made about Osteen. You said, kind of a break, Peggy. He's had so much Botox that he can't do anything but smile. Somebody else said that smile was surgically implanted on his face. Those are your comments, not mine. And I thought that they were very clever. But of course, it was not a very Christian response of me to point out that his very strange behavior that many people pointed out, not just me, it was not very Christian. So the other thing is that, again, people drew a conclusion that because I didn't like his response, they said I didn't like his preaching. And I'm so glad that they pointed that out, because it's such a good example of people drawing illogical conclusions. All right. A conclusion, ideally, is something that you arrive at, not because the media told you to think that, but because you were able to look at the evidence, weigh the evidence. You were able to discern whether or not these witnesses that we never got names and location, addresses, and all of that from, who also had the duper's delight, which means they're trying to follow the script and they're kind of smiling at the same time, thinking of that big paycheck that they're going to get, or that they're pulling a fast one on you. You know, they're pulling the wool over your eyes. People, like a lot of people, can't lie very well, apparently. At least these witnesses. So you have to evaluate that. If you had the misfortune of having to go to court and they brought in witnesses, your attorney is going to try to discredit the witness, saying we can't trust what they're saying. Yet you see it on TV, and suddenly, not you, but all y'all in the back row, you believe it. You believe it without even digging deeper. And another lovely Healthy American sent me a link to yet another witness that I did sit through previously before I did my video, but I didn't want to object you or subject you to that torture again. So there are a few that are out there. I'm sure there will be more witnesses to this event in Kansas City. So what I want to do on a non-snarky note is, coming up maybe in March or so, I want to do a whole series of how to spot logical fallacies, how to spot the holes in somebody's story, how not to have the wool pulled over your eyes. And even though I would like to think that I'm a person who's not going to be easily deceived, I think it's important that we brush up on these skills of being able to read between the lies. Let me know if you're with me. Give me a thumbs up. And please, for heaven's sakes, would you resubscribe to this channel, because YouTube is playing a game here of whack-a-mole. And every time you subscribe, they unsubscribe you. And it's important for the algorithm so that my message can get out to more people. Speaking of messages, I am going to bring you a second video today. I've got so many videos queued up for you. And this is actually a very happy note. So this has been kind of a strange video to bring to you. And I don't really want to go down the rabbit hole of the flags. I'll just use it that way because I don't want to trigger the algorithm here. You have the ability to read between the lies. You can go through the checklist that I gave you on Monday about how to discern whether or not what we're told is true or false. Again, I have to dance lightly here. I'm skating on thin ice. And so I know that you can do that. If you would like to email me your insights or leave them in a comment, I would love to read them. I appreciate you being on board. Love my Healthy American moderators as well. Give me about 5 minutes to queue up the next video. And I am going to bring you another success story. Y'all love the success story that I brought to you from Lisa, who stood up against the mainstream medical merry-go-round. They cowered when she brought all of the legal information, and then they did their little song and dance to try to pretend that, oh, no, the numbers are going down. That's why we're going to allow you to breathe oxygen when you come to our medical center, because it's far healthier to keep all of the germs up against your face. Of course it is. I think Kleenex should go out of business. Just have a permanent Kleenex attached to your face. And if you sneeze or cough, it's right there. Don't worry about the germs. It means nothing. So anyhow, y'all love that success story. And I've got another amazing success story for you, all about fluoride in the water. And I think that's what it's about. And also about other stuff that they are trying to spray in our communities. So wait until I bring you this story from a Healthy American. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that, hop on over to peggyhall.substack.com and subscribe to that Substack, where I'm going to give you my written analysis of this latest funny business. And you know what, friends, just because I'm on a roll, I think tomorrow I'm going to bring you one more video about Kelsey and Taylor and their little love story and why it makes me raise my eyebrows, and it should make you skeptical as well. All right, friends, see you in the very next video.
I've been saving over $15 a day by switching my lunch to
Let's do the world a favor. Let's go rip out some of these fucking garbage signs promoting the destruction of health and society itself. Let's just go fucking. Let's do the world a favor. Let's go rip out some of these fucking garbage signs promoting the destruction of health and society itself. Let's just go fucking. Let's just go do the world a favor here. If no one else is gonna, you know. Tired of seeing this shit. I'm tired of zombies, you know. I'm tired of people thinking that an injection of literal metal and poison and aborted fetal cells and synthetic mRNA, aka the false messenger. Let's just take these. They don't need these anymore. Oh, I'm on camera? Oh, am I? Really? Because I don't really care, honestly. I honestly don't care. Nobody should be promoting poison. I've already had detectives at my house. I don't really care, dude, honestly. I just, this shit's got to stop, dude. This shit's got to stop. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this tyranny. I'm tired of this totalitarian technocratic takeover leading towards a total transhuman fucking, dude, I'm tired of this, man. So I'm going to throw these in my car and I'm going to burn. Dude, I'm tired of this, man. I'm going to throw these in my car and I'm going to burn them. I'm going to burn them.
Hey man, did you watch the Satan worshipping show? Yeah, I watched the Super Bowl. Careful with that. Those things can be dangerous. But what was your favorite part of the show? Well, there were many great allegiances to Satan made, but I think my favorite one was when Taylor Swift's friend did the devil worshipping hand gestures while wearing an upside down cross. That was both very powerful and obvious. Could you tell if that was a man or a woman? I think those are the only two genders that the devil doesn't like, so I think it was probably something else. Another one I really liked was the Black National Anthem. I suspect that really moved the needle in creating unity. For sure. Nothing creates unity and ends racism like segregation. Yeah, things just feel different now. Do you know who created the Black National Anthem? I don't know their name, but I'm pretty sure it was white people. That's fitting. And do you know who decided to have it sang at the Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure also white people. Nothing genuinely honors black people more than white people deciding how and when they want to be honored. Oh, and did you see Mr. Pfizer pushing his coach and yelling at him? He is a good person that always makes good choices. Therefore, I will do what he tells me to do when he's paid $20 million to tell me to do it. So do you know what's going to happen next in the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce psyop? Now that the Chiefs have won the rigged Super Bowl and an association of supporting Biden has been crystallized into the consciousness of everyone who watched the game via the overtime win, which causes us to associate the hero archetype with Biden because of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's support for him, while also hypnotically associating their pretend love for each other with love for Biden. I think what's next in the psyop is for people like you and me to believe that we actually believe Biden's a hero and that we should love him and therefore vote for him. I can't think of any possible way for me not to think that. There is one hiccup in the plan, but I think the Swift-Kelce Super Bowl psyop will be enough to override it. What's the hiccup? Well, it's not a big deal. What is it? Well, do you know what the special prosecutor reported about Biden and his investigation to the classified files crimes? What did Trump do now? No, I'm talking about Biden. Biden didn't commit any crimes. A force that controls me compels me to know that only Trump commits crimes. I know. So this is probably just fake news. But a special prosecutor made a report about his investigation into Biden willfully retaining classified documents during his time as VP. Okay. The report concluded that Biden broke the law willfully and presented serious risks to national security, and also concluded that he's too senile to be put on the stand for his crimes. But he's still considered so mentally fit that he should be in charge of a country of 350 million people and have the codes to the nuclear bombs. Right? Correct. Well, the special prosecutor's words must have been taken out of context. I want more context. Okay, so after interviewing Biden, the special prosecutor said the president's memory is significantly limited. But he probably has the nuclear codes written down, so he doesn't have to remember them. He just has to remember where he put his note with the nuclear codes on it. Right. He probably can't do that. Sure he can. Again, we're probably just missing context. I want more context. Well, the special prosecutor's report went on to say he did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended. And if it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? And forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began. Going on to say, in 2009, am I still vice president? And the special prosecutor said he did not remember, even within several years, when his son Beau died. means nothing. Oh, and last week alone, on 3 different occasions, Biden publicly said that he had recently spoken to leaders who have been dead for many years. Do you think he remembers saying those things? Probably not. Ha! Kind of makes it hard to stay loyal to him, doesn't it? Well, not when you're reminded of how loyal you are to him by things like this. Good point. So, in conclusion, it was a great Super Bowl. Very safe and effective. Let me tell you something, my friend. When it comes to health, I think there are 2 types of people. Number 1, those who sit around hoping for the best. And number 2, those who take control of their health to give themselves the best possible health outcomes and wellness. Now, I might be an idiot in many regards, but when it comes to my health, I am not. So I am in group number 2. I like to take control of my health. And red light therapy has earned its way into part of my daily health optimization practices. This is the SuperMax panel made by BonCharge, makers of a wide range of holistic evidence-based wellness products that help you optimize your life in every way, including red light therapy. The evidence-based science of red light therapy is impressive, and my personal results are just as impressive. Red light therapy has been shown to have anti-aging effects on the skin. It boosts energy production, accelerates recovery from exercise and injury, reduces your stress and promotes relaxation, and amongst other things, gives you better sleep. That's why first thing in the morning, I'm in front of my SuperMax red light panel where I'm doing a meditation to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And I've also become a big fan of BonCharge's red light face mask due to its anti-aging effects. And it's really good at scaring off home invaders. If you're someone who doesn't leave your health a chance and you want to take control of your health with all the amazing benefits of red light therapy, nobody does it better than BonCharge. Just go to boncharge.com/JP, and while you're there, be sure to use the discount code JP for 15% off all BonCharge products.
Most traditional buy now, pay later options have 4 fixed payments.
You are now tuned into another edition of the Truth Zone. As always, this is your host, Truth Seeker here, and let's talk about what happened in KC at their parade today. Now, I've got to be careful how I word things, but this whole entire thing seems very, very, very strange. Also, prayers to all of the people affected. Also, here's a disclaimer. Anything that I'm asking questions to, it is just that. It is questions. I'm not saying it is factual one way or the other, but this whole entire thing that happened in KC is very tragic, to say the least. And it is very strange. Everything surrounding this thing is strange because it seems as if the number 3 is surrounded and revolves around KC. And I will show you what I'm talking about here in a few. But the fact that this happened 3 days after their superb Owl Bowl win. And remember Joe Buck? Remember what he talked about? He talked about weeks ago. He said that he has no desire to be in Vegas. He has no desire to be there because something big is going to happen and it won't stay in Vegas. Now, focus on that right there. He said it won't stay in Vegas, and this didn't happen in Vegas. This happened in KC. So did he know all along? I don't know, but this just seems very, very weird. And I will let you, the viewer, put 2 and 2 together on all of this. Again, prayers go out to all of the people affected and everything else, but put 2 and 2 together. He said this is going to be a mess in his mind. He said something big. And well, this is a big story that happened. As far as I know, this hasn't happened at a Super Bowl parade in quite some time, if ever. I don't know if it's ever actually happened at a Super Bowl parade. Someone can comment down below and correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, I don't believe this has ever happened. But it seems to me just very weird because on Valentine's Day at that. So you tell me what's going on because this whole entire thing seems very suspect. And again, I am just asking the questions. That's all I'm doing. And I'm being careful how I word things too, obviously, because of the algo. But something doesn't seem right about this. Does it seem right to you? It seems very, very strange. And the number 3 being involved is a giveaway of something weird going on. But I will let you, the viewer, decide for yourselves what you believe about this whole entire thing. Do you believe, what do you believe? Do you believe this was just a coincidence, or do you believe there's something more at work here? Again, I'm not saying one way or the other, but you can probably already guess what I believe in. You, the viewer, can probably already guess the way I'm leaning, but can't really say that on here because if I do, well, you know what happens. So again, this is just me questioning everything. That's all I'm doing. I believe that's my right to be able to question stuff, right? And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm not saying, oh, this is this or this is that. But man, what a weird year. It's been a very, very strange year. You can't deny that. A lot of very weird things are going on this year. 3 days ago, also, you had something else that happened in Texas. And it happened before the superb Owl Bowl. And Mahomes is from Texas. Pretty sure you know what event I'm talking about. But here's some more numbers for you. It happened 3 days after the Chiefs won. I mentioned that earlier. And the Chiefs won by 3 points with 3 seconds left in overtime at 3-3-3-3 Al Davis Way. And Mahomes won his 3rd superb Owl Bowl. And he passed for 333 yards. The numbers don't lie. A lot of coincidences. And then 3 suspects involved with this. A lot of three connections. A lot of weird and eerie stuff is happening in the year 2024. And again, I'm going to let you, the viewer, decide for yourself what you believe about this. But this just seems, as I said earlier, and I will say it again, this just seems very weird. And prayers go out to the victims, anyone affected. Because just because it seems weird doesn't mean people weren't affected in the process. But this is just very, very odd stuff. I wish I could dive into it more on here. I wish I could say what I really want to say, but you know how it works on here. I'm pretty sure you do anyway. Other truthers like me, we deal with the same stuff, where we're only allowed to say so much. If we go further into it and mention certain words, the algo gets triggered, especially with the way they updated the TOS. I mean, this is kind of like perfect timing from them updating the TOS, right? From that superb elbow, though, there was definitely a lot of agendas pushed, a lot of things pushed from that game with Taylor Swift and everything else. Who knows what's going to come out of this event? Who knows what's going to come out of the event Sunday before the superb elbow? Who really knows? But make no mistake about it, things are happening. Major things are happening all around us. This year has been very, very, very strange. Another reason the 3 is so important surrounding the Chiefs is way back in early January, 3 Chiefs fans froze to death. So you tell me what's really going on. A lot of different 3 connections. Was the thing that happened with the Chiefs fans, was that another ritual? I will let you decide, but best believe this was another ritual, and it tied into what happened to Jordan at Tower 22. So again, a lot of weird things are going on, and people need to wake up and realize this. That there's a lot of strange events happening in the year 2024, and the year of the dragon. I don't know what more it's going to take for people to wake up and realize things are not what they seem. This is some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And I'm praying, again, for all those involved in this, all the people affected, I should say. But another thing is Kansas City, and I have the word blocked out, but what happened, and reverse reduction adds up to 104. The reason that's important is because the Kansas City Chiefs won the Superb Owl Bowl game in the 104th season of the NFL. Is that a coincidence? Or is there more to this? I will let you decide. Again, I wish I could really go off and tell you exactly the way I feel about this situation, what I truly, really think about this situation, but I can't. And it's sad that the truth is being muzzled, that I can only say certain words. It's very sad. But then you have these demonic artists and everything else that gets promoted, that gets pushed to the front page, but people like me, we get silenced. It should tell you all that you need to know, the times that we are living in. We are living in some crazy times. We are living in some disturbing times. And it doesn't seem like things are going to be slowing down anytime soon. This has definitely been a strange year. The year of the dragon is off to one crazy start. I can only imagine what is next. I hate to say that. I hate to be so doom and gloom and so negative, but 2024 in general has been very strange with a lot of rituals. You can't deny that. It's happened since the beginning of the year. And now that we've entered the year of the dragon, it seems like things are only going to get worse from here. Maybe this is what they were ushering in. Or maybe it's going to be worse. You always have to question everything. And that's all I can do is question. That's all I'm going to do is question. But the numbers are all there. I will let you, the viewer, decide what you think about this story. And that about wraps up this episode of the Truth Zone. I wish I could talk into greater detail. I am going to start posting band content, like band topics on Patreon. It's just another way to support me. You can give $1, $3, $5 monthly, cancel anytime. But it's a way for me to get truth out, and it's a way for you all to further support the channel if you want. It's not a obligation by any means, but it's a way for me to be able to talk more about banned content that you really want to hear, that's banned, that I can't talk about on this platform. And it's just a way to support me. God bless each and every one of you. I thank you for tuning into another episode of the Truth Zone. And as always, this is your host, Truth Seeker, signing out.
You can understand it was an emotional afternoon for churchgoers at Lakewood. Fox 26's Ruben Dominguez caught up with some of them as they were leaving the scene. He continues our team coverage tonight.
But we did see one reunion, and it was a joyful reunion. And we got to speak to one woman who was very happy to find her friends that were inside of Lakewood Church when this happened.
They're part of the worship team, yes.
How did you guys get separated?
I wasn't here. We were at our church, and they're the worship team. They were singing when the incident happened.
How happy were you to see that they were all right, that they were safe?
Great. They just don't have their purse or phones or nothing. So that was so difficult. They were communicating by another person's phone. So it was like,
I'm glad you guys are all right, that they were safe.
great. They just don't have their purse or phones or nothing. So that was so difficult. They were communicating by another person's phone. So it was like,
I'm glad you guys are all right.
Today marks the 6th anniversary that 17 were killed in a mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Families of the parents are asking lawmakers for new gun legislation.
And one family is utilizing the newest technology in order to give their son back his voice. Local 10's Terrell Fournay has more on the powerful call to action.
Drop a 1 in the chat if my sound's coming. Do you guys hear me okay? Am I choppy at all? Drop a 1 if you hear me, please, somebody. All right, cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as I point out all the time, you'll notice on news stories, especially ones that are heavily agenda driven, which are many news stories, some might say, you'll notice that they're 2 minutes and 1 second long. A lot of news stories. I didn't even notice this one was when I added it into the queue. But the reason I bring up the 201 is for a very specific reason. And I'll show you that briefly. I'm listening to myself back now, and wow, I'm actually not having feedback. It's amazing. I need to start using Mr. Tommy Truthful, I need to start using the Truth Mafia calculator because it actually was left on the.
Crazy conspiracy theory guy. Look, she does with her hands. Bro, she's legit throwing up. I'm pretty sure it's a satanic hand gesture. And then she throws up her upside down cross.
It was left here by Mr. Tommy here. Shout out to Truth Mafia. He left a pretty detailed comment here. About the Batman with the 322, and if you didn't check out the stream, it's a good one. A superb owl mind control deprogramming stream. Are ye not entertained? But why did I go to this? Oh, right, because I wanted to start using their calculator. So yeah, as you can see, I did my own add-on to what he already added. I found this was interesting also, something that I found. So you can go read these comments. I have it pinned. Sometimes it's easier to see it for yourself than to hear it. A lot of numbers. But here, let's try this out. We're going to try the Truth Mafia Gematria calculator. Let me see. Is it going to let me open it? I'm going to have to copy it. Okay, that's strange. I'm not sure if I have used it before. Numbers never lie. But they lie with numbers, that's for sure. All right, so how do I do this here? All right, so the Jesuit order equals 201. See, in reverse ordinal. And there's a whole lot more with 201 that I don't even need to get into right here. But there's a reason why these news stories are 2 minutes and 1 second long. And it's sure not a coincidence. Anyway, activists use Parkland school bang bang victim's voice in this latest story.
When someone answers the call, a voice is heard on the other end.
Hello, I'm Joaquin. I was murdered at school by a shooter with an AR-15 assault rifle.
That voice belongs to Joaquin Oliver, one of the 17 people killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas 6 years ago.
It's 100% Joaquin's voice.
Joaquin's father, Manny Oliver, is tapping new AI technology to launch the Shotline campaign.
Together, we will all call for an end to gun violence.
The latest tool using the voices of multiple gun violence victims, all aimed at members of Congress to spark new gun reform laws.
It's a mixed feeling, you know, like you feel sad because you're actually, it's bringing you to that beautiful voice.
The power is in this online interactive platform where users can upload the voices of their own late loved ones and push calls through to their representatives in DC.
This is going to put some pressure on them.
We'll call again
and again and again
until change is made.
I'm hoping that this could be a game changer, and also a tool for anyone that wants to feel they're doing something.
Surrounded by memories of his new normal in Parkland, Manny is focused on the future.
And I know that what his voice is telling everyone on this message is a legit message from my son.
One that he hopes strengthens his work as an advocate against gun violence with the help of his 17-year-old son.
Go to theshotline.org.
In Parkland, Terrell Forney, Local 10 News.
So again, I'm sure it's just a coincidence that it was 2 minutes and 1 second long. Always is a coincidence. There's never anything deeper to it, so don't even start to think there is. It's all apophenia, folks. It's all meaningless dot connection. Definitely not proof of HAL 9000 working or a demiurge simulation simulacrum at play, for lack of a better term, to use some archaic terminology there, because we just love archaics now, don't we? All right, next video. Super Bowl, aka Superb Owl, aka Super Bowl, Alien Invasion Predictive Programming. Shout out to Truth Seeker once again. Some of these videos, most of the videos I'm playing tonight, I actually haven't seen. There were a couple I skimmed through that I discarded, and there were some that I skimmed through that I kept. This one I don't think I skimmed through at all, so hopefully it's a good one. Let's see the optics.
The predictive
Shout out to the
programming
chat.
surrounding UFOs, surrounding aliens, is right in front of your face. They continue to.
All right, we're going a little heavy with the voice, clearly. I've said this before. I think Truth Seeker can maybe chip out a little bit, but hey, maybe I need to step up my game. Maybe I need to put some oomph in it.
Hype
So
this up. They continue to showcase
stop.
this. This stuff was once deemed a conspiracy theory. If you talked about aliens back in the day and how they were real, you were viewed as a tinfoil hat wearer. But nowadays, it seems as if aliens are becoming more prominent than ever before. That's all you hear about anymore is UFOs. This, oh, I'm sorry,
What is his
UAPs.
voice, man?
This. I guess that's the more PC way of saying UFOs. But what are they trying to tell you in this latest ad by Squarespace? It showcases an alien invasion in this commercial.
Are you sure it's spinning? There's a whole swarm of them.
There was an historic hearing today on Capitol Hill.
とにかくまず今日は浜かにする。
I told you it's hit Broadway. This always happens.
What is very interesting about this commercial is the fact that in one part, the aliens hack everybody's technology, their phones and everything else, because the aliens are wanting everyone to look up at them. Because this is portraying the coming Antichrist. This is more Project Bluebeam stuff, because what the Antichrist is going to want everyone to do is the Antichrist is going to want everyone to look up and worship him as if he was God. And he's not. He is the Antichrist. And it's just very interesting how all of the technology is hacked. And it says, hello down there. And then everyone starts to look up.
All right, so I
because
think you
this is
guys
just
know where I
more
stand
predictive
with some
programming
of this
right
talk, some of this
in front of your very eyes. Because
phraseology,
they
verb
want to
and
stage
verbs, and
a fake
some of this language here.
alien invasion. Now, am I saying
Yeah,
anything is
I
going to happen at
try
the
to stay
Superb
clear,
Owl
steer
Bowl
clear of it for the most
regarding
part, but
a possible
to each their
alien
own.
invasion?
And
No, I'm
he
not
is
saying that,
somewhat
but
of a
you just never know
Christian
what
worldview
these people could be
kind of
planning.
lens
Because make no mistake
guy,
about it,
if
they're
I
planning
know
something
him
major
correctly.
soon.
And you know what?
Because they
So are
want
a lot
to
of the
roll out
channels
their
that I play here. So hopefully
NWO
you
agendas.
guys
And
know
I'm not
that
talking about
not all
wrestling.
views
It's
expressed
just
in these
right there
videos per
for
se
everyone to see
necessarily
more
reflect
predictive
those of the
programming.
channel owner.
They want to make
So much love.
aliens, they want to make UFO stuff seem more and more normal as they are getting closer and closer to doing this fake alien invasion, I believe. Now, they could always decide not to do that and do something else, but I believe this is how they are going to roll out the coming Antichrist. That is just a personal belief of mine. I'm not saying that this is facts by any means. I believe they are going to use this Project Bluebeam to have the Antichrist appear for everyone. I believe that's what they are going to do. But we shall see what plans they have in store, because they have all of this technology already where people are constantly glued to their phones. They are constantly glued to the tell a lie vision. They are constantly glued to tablets. So they already have all of this technology put in place to where the beast can be seen everywhere. So who knows how exactly they are going to do this, but I personally, myself, I believe they are going to use Project Bluebeam as a way to do this. There's been movies in the past predictively programming about looking up. One example is the movie Note, and it was about them focusing on the sky, looking up, and they seen these weird UFO, alien-like, cloud-like figures in the sky. For anyone that hasn't seen that movie, I recommend going and checking it out, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about in the movie, because they constantly have to put this predictive programming in everything. So it is just very strange how pretty much a lot of these Superb Owl Bowl ads this year include stuff about UFOs. Here you see another commercial about UFOs, another ad about UFOs. This is a commercial for Oreo. What does this have to do with a cookie, you might ask? That's a great question to ask, honestly, because this has nothing to do with, Oreo, the cookie, at all. It's just more symbolism. They continue to shove this alien symbolism in almost everything anymore. They continue to talk about this alien symbolism like crazy. Now, I know you will probably have some people out there doubting, saying, they're doing this because this year's Super Bowl is in Las Vegas, the Area 51 stuff, blah, 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 blah. But no, they are doing this for a reason, because they are trying to make this more and more normal. They are trying to plant this in people's subconscious. Here's even another commercial, a Mountain Dew commercial showcasing the same thing, showcasing a alien invasion, showcasing an alien abduction, when aliens aren't real. No, what aliens are, they are fallen angels. They are demons. That's exactly what they are. And they are being used more and more to deceive everyone, because more and more people are starting to believe in this UFO stuff. More and more people are starting to believe in these alien encounters. And they are going to continue to push this stuff and ads and everything else until pretty much everyone has had this stuff ingrained in the back of their minds. This is what they want. This is why they continue to predictively program this stuff and ads and everything else. That's all it is. It is a deceit. It is deceitful. It is demonic. It is satanic. And that's what it is. And that's why they continue to do this stuff. And another interesting thing regarding this Mountain Dew commercial is one of the scenes showed Aubrey Plaza. She's one of the people in this ad. I'm not sure who the guy is, but she was riding on top of a dragon. That's very telling too, because we are currently in the year of the dragon. So that's very interesting stuff that they would randomly include this as part of this ad for the Superb album. So you tell me what exactly they are hinting at, because this part of the ad actually ties in with the Bible. And I will show you what I mean here in a second, but it's just very, very strange how they decided to include this. And the reason why this ties into the Bible is in Revelation 17:3. It says, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." So it is very interesting how they chose that imagery for that Mountain Dew ad. That's very interesting stuff, if I do say so myself. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but it seems as if they are hinting at something major. And then you even seen this, NFL on CBS. It says, as Las Vegas sets the stage for Super Bowl 58, Brock Vereen takes a trip to Area 51. Pretty much more alien symbolism is all this is. They continue to use this symbolism constantly. And if you remember, we started out the beginning of the year with the thing in Miami where people were trying to make it about aliens again, or the Nephilim, because what aliens are, they are fallen angels. They are demons. So again, you got to ask, where did the representation of aliens come from? The bug-eyed looking, gray looking, or green looking creatures we know today. Well, they came from Aleister Crowley, because Aleister Crowley seen a demon figure, because Aleister Crowley was satanic. And that's what aliens are. They are demons. People really need to wake up and realize this. They are pushing their agendas. Even right here, today they call them angels and demons. Tomorrow they will call them something else. So this is why you have all of this alien symbolism. They don't want to just say, oh, it's demons invading. No, they want to use alien invasions, or UFO encounters, or UAP invasions, or whatever else you want to call it. They don't want to use the real terms. They don't want to use demon encounters, demon invasions, demonic invasions. No, they don't want to do that. They want to deceive you through this alien stuff. That's exactly what they want to do, and that's what they are trying to do, and they are going to do everything in their power to fool everyone into believing in UFOs through Project Bluebeam. So people really need to wake up. People need to really wake up and realize what these people are doing, because these people are trying their best to deceive and to distract and to divide. And then they want to bring everyone together against a common enemy. And that would be this fake alien invasion. As always, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Truth Zone. And this is your host, Truth Seeker, signing out.
If I could fly away.
Your mom and dad sure gave you a good head for this crazy business.
Well, when a rock star meets a country music superstar and they have a bunch of kids, it's kind of in our DNA.
Put from God if you think Valentine's Day comes from God, and put not from God.
How do celebrities like Justin Bieber and The Rock generate hundreds of millions of dollars? It's actually...
Does Valentine's Day come from pagan origins? Is it really connected to the half-goat, half-man god named Pan and Satan himself? Has there been a major cover-up by the Roman Church about this holiday that would explain why everybody everywhere celebrates it? And does God even care? This short documentary tells all and reveals all. Find out the truth about Valentine's Day and where it really came from. If you're a believer in Christ, you've got to watch this. This short video explains the lies of the enemy and will leave you shocked at what you were never told.
All right, so again, you guys know how I think you guys know where I stand for the most part, with religion and Jesus talk. The subject of a Jesus figure. When I say where I stand, I guess what I really mean to say is my lack of comprehension on the subject of the Jesus figure. I don't exactly know where most people are coming from. This is coming from somebody who I gave into, but someone who allowed some divine feminine beings at one point in my life to save me, as it's called, at the front doorstep of my home, actually. They came knocking on the door, asked me if I had ever accepted Jesus into my heart, and I said, I don't know if I have, actually. And they asked me if I was interested, and I said, I don't exactly know if I have anything to lose. So I went along with it, and I was, I guess, what you would call saved, baptized, I guess. Well, not baptized, but saved, as I know it to be referred to as. That being said, I still don't exactly get the story. I do still feel that the ruling families, as they're referred to, have very much concocted this story based off what was most likely a true story, but that's also very much riddled with allegorical significance, be it astrological, astrotheological, and what have you. So, anyway, so I might not really watch this, but we'll entertain it a little bit. We'll entertain it a little bit.
I'm Jim Staley with Passion for Truth Ministries, and I'll see you there. This coming April, we will.
And again, I like the name Passion for Truth Ministries. I do like that. So I'm new to this channel. I don't think I've watched it, so I guess this is a review.
I'm going to invite you to our annual Passover celebration event. From bonfires to ice cream socials to incredible worship and timeless symbolism of the Seder meal itself, this event is free and we want you to be there. So text Passover 2024 to 844-763-9543 for more info or go to passionforpassover.com. I'll see you there. So what do you think of when you think of Valentine's Day? You think of love, Cupid, chocolates, candies, red roses? On February 14th, sweethearts of all ages will engage in what appears to be a harmless holiday that's rooted in innocent love. But is this modern day holiday really rooted in innocent love? Or does it have a much darker pagan origin that was later covered up by the Roman Church of its day? Is St. Valentine's Day a holiday that is really Christian and something that Christ would support today? Or is this an imposter holiday, designed by the enemy to be just one more distraction from the holidays on God's calendar, the holy days that really matter? Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Staley from Passion for Truth Ministries, and today we're going to dive into the topic of Valentine's Day. I know, some will. The newly initiated and now drunk Luperci priest would run through the streets naked, striking as many women as possible with the blood-soaked leather goat strips. Young women would willingly bare their skin, welcoming being struck by the blood-dipped goat strips, believing the blood would cause them to be more fertile. Many sources report that this drunken and sexually violent festival also had an element that included a matchmaking lottery in which young men drew names of women from a jar. The two would then be coupled up for the entire duration of the festival.
In just over 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how I created this ebook using a feature called.
Although Lupercalia sacrifices were eventually banned in 341 AD, the festival continued to be popular throughout Rome until it was said to have been outlawed by Pope Gelasius at the end of the 5th century. Coincidentally, in the same year that he banned Lupercalia, he instituted Valentine's Day. Go figure. What? While Lupercalia was celebrated from February 13th through 15th, Pope Gelasius chose a saint that just so happened to be allegedly beheaded right in the middle of Lupercalia, February road, especially if it's a road that was paid by the Roman Catholic Church. After all, their history of taking very pagan festivals and adopting them into the church, throwing a little holy water on them, and calling them Christian is very well documented. For example, if you haven't seen my documentary called December 25th on Trial, I encourage you to do so. It shows in great detail how December 25th was in fact an already existing pagan holiday to the Roman sun god, and how the Roman church assimilated it into their own church calendar against the very clear instructions of Scripture. So I personally needed to know for myself, was Valentine's Day the same or was it different? The first question I wanted to answer was, where did the name St. Valentine's come from anyway? Was it a real person? Was it a saint? At the end of my study, the answer was kind of. But before we go there, let's go all the way back in time to the most likely real beginnings of this popular holiday of, quote, love. And that means we have to go all the way back 600 years before the birth of Christ to the founding festival celebration of Rome called Lupercalia. Lupercalia was a pagan Roman festival that was celebrated from February 13th to the 15th. According to History.com, it was a bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration awash with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking, and coupling in the hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility. This cultic fertility celebration was dedicated to Lupercus, the Roman god associated with shepherds and fertility, as well as the legendary founders of Rome, the gods Romulus and Remus, who were alleged to have been nurtured by the she-wolf in the cave of Lupercus. Although you may not be familiar with the god Lupercus, you will likely be familiar with what the Greeks called him, Pan, that half-man, half-goat god that was the god of shepherds and is often affiliated with sex and fear, thus where we get the word PANiC from. Interestingly enough, the Bible often characterizes his people as sheep and links Satan to a goat. Furthermore, it's even more intriguing to learn that during the highest holy day of the biblical year, Yom Kippur, the high priest of Israel would bring the two sacrificial goats before God. One would actually be sacrificed, while the high priest would confess all the sins of Israel over the other, and then place his hands on the goat's head and transfer the sins to the goat. From there, the goat was led into the wilderness, called the scapegoat, and he was pushed off the cliff. This symbolic act was a way for the people to know that the God of Israel knew that the origin of all sin originally came from the serpent in the garden, which was now being symbolized as a goat. This entire founding festival of Rome is dedicated to none other than Satan himself, Pan. So let's find out what this Lupercalia festival was all about. It begins, of course, by sacrificial rituals performed by a group of priests known as the Luperci, who gathered at the sacred cave of Lupercal on the Palatine Hill where Rome was supposedly born. This was the very same cave that Romulus and Remus were said to have been suckled by the she-wolf to stay alive. Ironically, the Latin word for wolf is lupus, and the Latin for she-wolf, well, none other than the slang for prostitute. February was thought to be the month where spring began, and it was said to be the time of cleansing and purification before the gods. It was in the cave of Lupercal that the priest, called Luperci, would sacrifice 2 goats and a dog, symbolizing purification and fertility. The sacrificial blood was smeared then on their foreheads of who? 2 naked young men, signifying a rite of passage and ensuring fertility. Then the blood would be wiped off using wool soaked in milk while the priest laughed. I believe all of this is for a reason. I believe Satan is creatively mocking here the goats of the Yom Kippur sacrifice and the blood of the lamb that was placed on the doorpost that caused God's people to be passed over during the fateful night in Egypt in the Exodus. Hebrews 9:14 says that the blood of Christ will cleanse our consciousness. The priest laughing at the wiping off of the blood, I believe, is Satan's way of saying that he's going to do his best to wipe the blood of Christ off our conscience and remind us of our sin. During Lupercalia, once the sacrifices were made, the blood would then be placed on these strips of goat skins called of all things thongs, or februa, which were the tools of purification. After a feast of much eating and drinking, the newly initiated and now drunk Luperci priest would run through the streets naked, striking as many women as possible with the blood-soaked leather goat strips. Young women would willingly bare their skin, welcoming being struck by the blood-dipped goat strips, believing the blood would cause them to be more fertile. Many sources report that this drunken and sexually violent festival also had an element that included a matchmaking lottery in which young men drew names of women from a jar. The two would then be coupled up for the entire duration of the festival. Although Lupercalia sacrifices were eventually banned in 341 AD, the festival continued to be popular throughout Rome until it was said to have been outlawed by Pope Gelasius at the end of the 5th century. Coincidentally, in the same year that he banned Lupercalia, he instituted Valentine's Day. Go figure. What? While Lupercalia was celebrated from February 13th through 15th, Pope Gelasius chose a saint that just so happened to be allegedly beheaded right in the middle of Lupercalia, February 14th. It seems like a perfect replacement to distract the carnal Christians of Rome who were easily entangled by the popular holiday that had been at the foundation of Rome's holiday calendar for over 1,000 years. But who is this supposed saint? Before we find out who Saint Valentine was, let's talk about another sketchy character, Cupid, the chubby little naked angel boy that supposedly shoots people with one of his arrows and they immediately are struck with lust, passion, and love for one another. While Cupid is the name the Romans gave him, his original Greek name was Eros, where we get the name erotic from. Contrary to what people believe, Cupid doesn't mean love, but actually desire, and more specifically, lustful desire. Originally, he was depicted as a handsome and naked young man. Over time, the image turned into a naked child who not only did the bidding of his mother, Venus, but paintings suggest an ancestral relationship between the two. His mother, Venus, called Aphrodite in the Greek, was the goddess of sexual intercourse and desire. Interestingly enough, one of her main symbols was none other than the rose. It seems the red rose has a root that goes all the way back to the goddess of desire. Cupid's father is said to be Mars, the god of war. So all of this makes sense because it explains why he is the god of sexual desire, but also carries a weapon, the bow. Originally, Cupid's arrows were designed not for love, but were used in a devious way, to have the wrong people burn with desire towards one another, and that would lead them to chaos and destruction. Sound familiar? I believe that's exactly what Satan's doing with our young people today. Create a system of dating from a young age that the children are, quote, coupled, filled with desire towards one another, almost always ending in chaos and broken hearts. So while in the feast of Lupercalia, the priest would put the blood of the sacrifice on the foreheads of the young naked boys that would then run throughout town, striking young women with their whips to induce fertility, Cupid is now the young naked boy that shoots people with his arrows to cause them to fall in love. The similarities are striking and cannot be dismissed. In my opinion, the spirit behind the mask of Cupid is none other than the demon of lust and pornography, trying to get young people to find boyfriends and girlfriends as early as possible, convincing them that they need to try out as many people as they can, and in the process, they'll be leaving their faith in God out of the picture almost altogether. When believers find a spouse in the same way that the world does, should it surprise us that we have the same exact divorce rate? To this end, it seems his poison-tipped goal is to create as many broken hearts as possible as he trains people in the art of selfishness. And all the while, he masquerades as a cute little chubby angel on the front of Hallmark cards, albeit a fallen angel, no doubt. So as believers in Christ, here was the first question I had to face. If Valentine's Day is such a Christian holiday as we're led to believe, then why on earth is the main mascot for this holiday a real Roman god that is for sure the invention from hell itself? You might have an answer for that, but I didn't. So at this point, if you think Cupid is an imposter, mocking what real love is supposed to really look like, hit the thumbs up button right now below this video and put imposter in the comments. Let me know. In the beginning of my research, I'm not going to lie, I told myself, well, that's not what it means to me. I don't celebrate it like the pagans did, which was exactly what I also said about Christmas and Easter as well when I found out the origins of those. But then he reminded me that it didn't matter what it meant to me because I wasn't the one being worshipped. It only matters what it means to him. No matter how excited I would be to get my wife a brand new bow for hunting, if she didn't want it, then I would be making it all about me. And that's exactly what I believe that we're doing in the church today. And I'm pretty sure God's about fed up with his kids making it all about us and what we want to do and how we want to worship him and all about how we feel. After all, Deuteronomy 12:32 says, whatever I command you, be careful to observe it. You shall not add to it nor take away from it. But you might be thinking, I'm not worshiping God during Valentine's Day. If you are, hold that thought. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. For now, let's find out where the person St. Valentine actually came from.
New 2024 Volvos as low as $399 a month. It's Weston Volvo Cars President's Day event. New 2024 XC60 $449 a month. New XC90 $499 a month. New XC.
So now that we've nailed down the history of Lupercalia and Cupid, finding out the incredibly dark origins of those, let's move on to the last piece to this puzzle. Who is St. Valentine? According to the Smithsonian, there were multiple Valentini that supposedly fit the description and died on February 14th in the 3rd century. Apparently, we know this because there was an order of Belgian monks who were tasked over these 3 centuries of collecting evidence for the lives of saints for the church. It's from these Valentist monks that we know all that there is to know about these 3 supposed Valentine saints. And that's the problem. We don't know very much at all. The only thing we know about the first Valentinus is that he died in Africa with 24 soldiers. That's it. And the other 2, well, that's not much better. According to late medieval legend, there was a Roman priest named Valentinus who was arrested during the reign of Emperor Claudius II in the 3rd century. He was put into custody of an aristocrat named Asterius. The legend says that Asterius told the priest that he would absolutely convert if he could cure his foster daughter of blindness. So, of course, Valentinus proceeds to put his hands over the young girl's eyes, heals her. From there, Asterius and his entire family were baptized and supposedly converted. But when the emperor heard about it, he was furious and had Valentinus beheaded on none other than February 14th. The 3rd candidate for St. Valentine, it's also a very similar story. He ends up also being beheaded by the same emperor. According to the notes of the Valentist monks, they challenged the authenticity and historical accuracy of these stories, and according to the Smithsonian, they're probably likely the same person with 2 different versions of what happened. There's also legends of St. Valentine performing Christian marriages while he was in prison and passing notes between Christian lovers that were jailed by Emperor Claudius. If true, the similarities of connecting lovers and the fertility ritual and matchmaking of Lupercalia could be the reason why Pope Gelasius chose this saint as an alternative holiday for the feast that he just banned. After all, with St. Valentine being killed during the pagan feast of Lupercal, this intimately connects the 2 at the hip in the most convenient way. So what do you think? Is it a convenience or is it coincidence? Even though some of the history of the Valentines are sketchy at best, what we do know for sure is that virtually all scholars believe the reinvention of all this love and romance that we see in Valentine's Day today was kicked into overdrive in the 14th century with the famous English author Geoffrey Chaucer. Pulling from some of the existing legends, he equated the feast of St. Valentinus to the mating of birds, of all things. He wrote this in the Parliament of Fowls. For this was on St. Valentine's Day, when every bird comes there to choose his mate. Apparently in Chaucer's day, English birds paired off to produce eggs in February. Soon after that, European nobility began sending love notes during bird mating season. The English audience completely embraced the idea of mating in February when Shakespeare's love-struck Ophelia, speaking of herself as Hamlet's Valentine. Then, of course, came along Hershey's, Cadbury, and every other chocolate manufacturer to make sweets for everyone's Valentine. From there, the entire holiday became commercialized, evolving into what it is today. So while I personally believe that the Roman Church did exactly with Valentine's Day what they did with the date of Christmas, aka hijacked a pagan holiday that was infiltrating the church and replaced it with their own, the true motives of Pope Gelasius cannot be really known for sure. All we do know is that the motive to replace a popular pagan holiday with something that was church approved was definitely there. Number 1, Christians were celebrating this pagan feast and he wanted it stopped. Number 2, he outlaws Lupercalia and just so happened to institute St. Valentine's Day at the same time. Number 3, he chooses a saint that just so happens to allegedly been killed on February 14th, which is right smack in the middle of Lupercalia. And lastly, number 4, the church has already made such a switch in the previous century by moving the birthday of Christ from the biblical feast day of Tabernacles, called Sukkot, which is in the fall, to the winter solstice of December 25th, when the Romans were celebrating the birthday of their sun god. All of this seems like it points to an evidentiary conclusion that Valentine's Day's origins are in fact pagan. And Pan, aka Satan, that goat god who's bent on making people look like him, half in the image of God, half in the image of the stubborn and rebellious goat, is at the head of all of it. At the end of the day, it's the trianalogy good and evil. It's the compromise between good and evil that makes the whole thing evil. If you agree, hit the thumbs up button right now and put the word pagan in the comments. If you don't think that there's enough evidence to say it comes from pagan origins, then state your case in the comments as well. So at the end of the day, here's the question. Should we as Christians celebrate Valentine's Day? Ultimately, that's for each person to decide based on where they're at spiritually. For me, there were two components that helped me make up my mind. First of all, the scriptures are very clear that if there's any holiday that originally was set up for the worship of a foreign god, we cannot take that holiday, sprinkle some holy water on it, change it a little bit, and use it to worship the true God. God says in Deuteronomy chapter 12 that we cannot look into the ways that the pagans worship their gods, borrow from their ideas, and then worship him likewise. Second, for those that have ears to hear and eyes to see, it's very clear what the Spirit's doing in the earth right now. He's calling his true bride out of Egypt again and separating them from the traditions and doctrines of men that have prevented them from seeing the full truth and experiencing his true power. After all, sometimes the greatest curse is the blessing that we don't even know we've missed. And by constantly introducing these imposter holidays, the Roman Church completely abandoned the real holy days of God, the feast days of the Lord that he gave to anyone and everyone that would choose to follow him, the ones that foretold the first and second comings of Christ, which, by the way, is a major motivation of Satan to create these fake holy days so that God's people would miss the blessings that are built into them and never even know what they missed. It's not a coincidence that Jesus, or Yeshua in Hebrew, dies on Passover, is put in the grave during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, raises on first fruits, and the Holy Spirit just so happens to come down on the Feast of Shavuot, better known today in the Greek as Pentecost. That's just the feast days of the spring that are all about his first coming. It should not be surprising then to learn that he's prophesied to come back on the Feast of Trumpets, when the original kings of Israel were crowned as kings, and why the dead in Christ rise first at the sound of a trumpet. Then Judgment Day will be on Yom Kippur, and the marriage supper of the Lamb is during the Feast of Tabernacles, when actually Yeshua was born. If you have never looked into the feast days of the Lord, I encourage you to watch my introductory video on the feast as soon as possible. The prophetic significance of these feasts will leave you speechless, and if you incorporate them into your life and your family, they will absolutely change the quality of your life, and the blessings that will come from them will shower over you beyond what you can imagine. So as we bring this to a close, like I said earlier, you might be saying to yourself that you're not worshiping God with Valentine's Day. You're just taking your wife out to dinner and buying a few red roses. Okay, fair enough. You can make that argument if you want. But as believers, aren't we supposed to be worshiping our Heavenly Father in everything that we do? And if our lives are really supposed to be revolved around him, doesn't it feel a bit icky to be celebrating a holiday that has so many roots that can be traced back to Satan himself? And doesn't it seem just like Lucifer to invent a holiday that's all about sex and desire and magic cultic rituals, and then water it down and then send it into the church for us to swallow hook, line, and sinker? It's what he does. It's what he's always done. Twist just a little bit of the truth, add in his poison, and we just take it down like a spoonful of sugar. In my opinion, we're playing right into his hands. We're sending our children to school, and they're getting little candy Valentines as they learn from the age of 5 that they need to find a Valentine and couple up, just like they did over 2,000 years ago in the Feast of Lupercal. We can say it's cute all we want to, but in the end, Satan's the one that's laughing. He's just playing Peter Pan as he takes our children off to Never Never Land and teaches them how to fly his way. And Valentine's Day is just one more arrow in his quiver that poisons their heart into the sexual direction he wants them to go. And for those who really want to know, Peter Pan's name did come from the half-goat, half-god Pan, who was also an orphan. Sorry to ruin your childhood. Yes, my friends, the rabbit hole is deep. Personally, I think this holiday is a mockery of what real love is supposed to look like. Not a love that it's seated in lust, passion, and desire, but a love that first starts at the cross, a sacrificial love that gives, a love that exemplifies to the world what his love looked like for us from the very beginning of time. Now, I'm certainly not saying that every holiday and tradition is pagan. Traditions can be powerful instruments that can bind families together and create intimate connections with both your fellow man and with God himself. But I am saying that we should be very careful about engaging in the ones that come directly from the worship of pagan deities, and be very wary of anything that remotely has the appearance of evil or has contributed to the replacement of God's holiness. In the end, the only question to leave you with is this: now that you know the truth, what are you going to do about it? You can ignore it and believe that God doesn't care about where this holiday came from and the one who's behind it, or you can join the millions of people from around the world that are shedding the roots of the Roman Church and coming back to the real roots of the Christian faith and just doing Bible things in Bible ways. As for me and my house, we're going to continue to do our best to serve the Lord in spirit and truth and to celebrate the prophetic holy days on God's calendar. And that means all imposters and all compromise have to go. In the meantime, thank you for taking the time to watch this short documentary. We encourage you to share this with as many people as you can. If you're new to Passion for Truth Ministries, I encourage you to hit subscribe below and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any of the videos that we put out here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're looking to learn more about your Christian roots of your faith, more about the feast days of the Lord, or how to grow in deeper covenant with the Father and
All right.
then you've come to the right place. That's our heart. Feel free to check out our website at passionfortruth.com.
Let's take it easy here, all right? Let's not get too dogmatic.
Thanks again for watching.
Jesus,
Stay with Passion for Truth Ministries, and I'll see you in the next video.
Or Babel, the ones that rebel against.
All right, so yeah, just again, not all videos played here reflect the beliefs, the views, the knowingness, the gnosis, some might say. But yeah, the knowledge and beliefs and views of the channel owner. Not necessarily, yeah. I play a lot of stuff here. There are a lot of videos. There is a lot of content played here that doesn't necessarily reflect the views of the channel owner. Sorry, I have some feedback on my end. It's kind of messing me up. Where was I going? All right, what do you guys want? Do you want? I'll give you an option for the last video. Do you want Enter the Stars, Ice Spice, Taylor Swift, Karma, Under the Skin, Fire, and Ice Comet Eclipse 2024 programming? Or do you want? Is it even here? Oh wait, I have it open now, I think. What am I saying? Yeah, so that would be 1. Or do you want 2, which is a Death Star Rebirth Superb Owl Eclipse Ritual? I'm not sure why he's spelling superb like that. That's not how you spell superb. It's also not how you spell Super Bowl. So I'm not sure if Donut's doing his own kind of coding or if he just had a typo there. I think 2 streams in a row, actually. Yeah, there it is again on the other one. What do you guys think? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? And Mr. Snafu, if he was here, he would be saying, why am I supporting Pogos by playing Mr. Jacob Israel? There's also 3. That's a good point. 3 could be to just shut it down. Just shut her down. Leave with some dignity. Feast of Trumpets relates to 9/11, the birth of Christ. Some might say. Donut is actually retardef. Retardef. Interesting. Yeah, the optics are medium. Okay, we got a 1, so we're gonna give him a 1. I also had this interesting video from Scary Mysteries, Lizard People, Illuminati, and Doppelgangers. 5 celebrity conspiracy theories that are probably real. A very interesting thumbnail of Miss Swifty looking quite Sampaku-eyed. All right, so let's go back to that. Oh, fuck, did I lose it now? This is going to be the last one of the night. How about okay, how about this? We'll go to his channel and see. I feel like there may be a better video to review of his. Super Bowl ads, Fire Ice halftime show. This was the one Z was looking at, I think, on his stream. First plane zombie Snoop cereal censorship missing sub Scottish Dragon coffee talk. Casey Blackout Amnesia player and ushering in Ludacris Rabies Matrix coffee talk. All right, we'll check this one out. I already asked about it. It sounds like it has some comet eclipse symbolism. another fellow with the Christian lens. But regardless, eat the fruit, spit out the pit, and yeah, enjoy. BRB.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today is about to go off the rails as we begin to break down the cult of Taylor Swift and
Good evening is more appropriate, but yeah.
Ice Spice, as well as Under the Skin, the 2013 movie with Scarlett Johansson.
Actually, I take that back.
Welcome to the
I take that back. It actually is technically the morning. I mean, 3:30 a.m. Yeah, that's, I guess.
Fire and Ice Matrix. Now, if you're new to the channel and you're tuning in a little bit late, go into your watch page and you can increase the watch speed up to 125%, 150%. I do tend to talk a little bit slow at times because the concepts need to have time to marinate in your brain and to be understood. And so by increasing the watch speed, you can get caught up to the rest of the group as we begin to break down this matrix. Now, why are we talking about fire and ice? Well, this will be repetition for some of you, but essentially we are up against an eclipse that will happen next to a comet in just a few short weeks on April 8th this year. It's probably one of the first times this has ever happened in recent history. And all of the symbolism that the elite are programming us with is hinting at fire and ice. So everything today we're going to be talking about is fire and ice. We're going to be talking about eclipses. We're going to be talking about occult symbolism for much of this morning. And I couldn't believe what was revealed this morning. I had a basic outline of the show today. And we also will be viewing at the end of the show today. I'm going to play for you a re-upload from 4 years ago. We're going to watch part of that, in which we were talking about fire and ice eclipses before anybody knew that there would be a comet sitting next to the eclipse coming up in a few short weeks. Let's start with Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. Now, many of you will remember that she appeared in a Super Bowl ad just a couple days ago on Super Bowl Sunday, on Toilet Bowl Sunday, we're going to start calling it. And the ad that she appeared in was an M&M ad with Dan Marino. And it was all about fire and ice. And so it's weird that we were going to decode this film and then she shows up in a Super Bowl ad, right? Now, for various reasons, I'm not going to show you most of this film. It's a 2013 film, and we're going to focus on the last few minutes of the film. But let me tell you the storyline of this very creepy movie.
Well, before he continues, let me just do a little bit of metaversal DJing and remixing here, if you will. I have a great clip that's very much on the topic. And when I say a great clip, I really just mean because it's on topic. Never trust Hollywood actors, folks. And Under the Skin podcast.
Under the Skin is back, and look who's with me. It's Yuval Noah Harari. Hello.
Hey, good to be here again.
Isn't it wonderful that we've found a way of communicating with each other in the form of podcasts?
I think it is.
And
right.
Is there some love between us now?
I think so.
I feel love. I look at you, I look at your eyes, I think you're a beautiful person.
Yuval, thank you so much for joining me on Under the Skin.
Yeah, it's good to be here again.
When surveillance goes really under the skin,
We need to monitor what's happening under the skin.
surveillance technologies,
Surveillance going under our skin, especially surveillance under the skin. We don't know hackable animals under the skin. We don't know hackable animals under the skin. We don't know hackable animals under the skin.
Yuval, thank you so much for joining me on Under the Skin.
Yeah, it's good to be here again.
These people are disgusting, I tell you. Any connections here? I wonder. Back to Under the Skin, folks. Was that on topic or was that on topic?
I'm going to focus on the last few minutes of the film. But let me tell you the storyline of this very creepy movie. Now, remember, the black alien goo is what they will tell us is an Arctic permafrost virus. This is what they're setting all this up for. This is what all the programming has been about. They're setting this up to be some kind of Arctic permafrost virus. And in the movie, Scarlett Johansson plays an alien with a black form underneath, as you see on the screen here. And then her outer skin is Scarlett Johansson. This is her peeling off her skin and looking at herself. And she works with this other alien. Let's scroll down through some of these pictures and see if we can find this guy. And he's basically on a motorcycle. And he goes around.
Oh, A24 has really been putting out a lot of crazy stuff for quite some time. And they recently just put out Civil War, which I haven't gotten to watch yet. but I do have the preview here. This will probably be my only other thing to kind of. This will be my only thing to play that's kind of slightly off topic, but not really at the same time. Because again, this is very recent, and just for that reason alone, and how relevant it is to things that are going on currently, I'd say it's not off topic really at all. So this one here is, if I can find it in my archive. This is from whose channel? Maybe I'll Be Back 3, probably. But yeah, pre-programming Civil War coming out this year. I think it already came out, if I'm not mistaken. So, right, I found it. Here it is. Pre-programming.
States have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California.
Really, Texas, you say? Interesting. What have we been seeing in Texas the last few weeks? Right. And again, these are the people who also came out with. Well, we'll get back to it. This is a short one.
Suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
You need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. What?
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the
Peace to you, Mr. Cedar. Have a great night, sir.
White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car! Move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
So yeah, I mean, nothing to see here, really. Definitely nothing to see here. Nothing to think deeply about and connect dots on. Here's another classic here from A24. Clearly a very interesting network here, putting out very interesting movies and films.
Basically cleaning up her mess as she seduces men into this pool of black goo. She seduces them and brings them to her house, and they enter this void. And she encounters all kinds of characters. This guy has tumors all over his face. This guy she met at a club, and she seduces them into this black pool. And it's somewhat viscous. You can tell that it's very thick, this pool of black goo, as she walks away and the person is submerged in the black pool. And so there's various reasons why I'm not showing you these clips. Now, the pool exists.
And you know what's even more interesting?
Inside of her house. In this
is the fact that if you've seen Lucy, you know all about how much the black goo symbolism is in there. So shout out to Pale Horse Rider. He's got some great videos to check out if you haven't seen them. Or you could go to the Pineal. You could go to the video on Pineal Power called let's get the transmission. Trans is the mission, I think. You can tell by the thumbnail. It's the one about the trans agenda. So transhuman.
Now, the pool exists inside of her house, in this house, this weird house that she lives in. And it's almost suggested that this is some kind of web or some kind of portal. Now, the weird thing about this particular movie, Under the Skin, was that it was shot with hidden cameras and random strangers who were later told that they were being filmed, and they were asked permission to use the footage, and they were told the complete scope of what they would be asked to do, which involves some scenes of nudity and these things. And these people all agreed to be part of the film only after they were filmed with this hidden camera. So this is a really creepy movie. And so there's a bit of, I guess you call it what's the word I'm looking for? Like reality TV element to this as well. Now, how does Scarlett Johansson find her victims? She picks them up in this minivan. I think it's like a white minivan. And it took me a minute to figure out the symbolism of this movie, but essentially, Johansson plays what we call a succubus, a demon woman or a demon spirit seducing men into oblivion. Now, the film drones on for a couple hours, and it's the same story repeated over and over again. And the only rule seems to be that the victim must consent, or they must demonstrate some kind of desire in order for them to be absorbed into the void. In other words, if she doesn't think she can get this person to come to her house, then they are freed from her bond, right? So there's also this weird inversion aspect to the film. The victims, some of the victims, like this guy right here, let me see if I can find him. Some of the victims, this guy right here, he stays stuck, floating alive in the blackness underneath. I think here's an image here of it. Yeah. So he's stuck in this void, in this blackness, just stuck there. And he can see other people that are stuck in this void as well, in this black goo. And he's watching another person, another man in this black goo. And all of a sudden, the other man deflates like a balloon before his eyes and leaving only his skin left. So the inversion here is that Scarlett Johansson, the alien, she is the black void in the form of a human wearing human skin. So there's an inversion. Black void, human, deflates inside the void. And then if you look at that in the nested reality, she becomes the black goo with the human skin on it. So it's like inverted, right? Now, various people have looked at this film and tried to decode it. And I've seen, various renditions of this, but we're going to dig deep in this because this relates to exactly what's happening right now. Now, here is the image of one of the men that's stuck in the void who deflates, and all that's left is his skin. So this is nested reality programming, right? Inversion ritual. Now, the whole thing suggests that this house that she's luring these men into, it's like a dilapidated house. It's a portal. It's a portal of nested realities. Now, again, I won't recommend this film for various reasons, but needless to say, this man that Scarlett Johansson has working for her as an accomplice, he rides around on a motorcycle, which by all appearances, he's basically another alien in human skin. He doesn't seem like he's acting human. And he rides around feverishly on his motorcycle, cleaning up the crime scenes after her messes. And then at a certain point in the movie, Scarlett Johansson picks up this grossly deformed man, as you've seen up to this point. Now, he has like these tumors, and apparently this guy is a real actor. And he, for the rights of the deformed, to avoid bullying and all that, right? So this is kind of his thing. And I don't know if he was already somewhat popular before the film, and they cast him in the film. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But needless to say, he appears in the film as one of her victims. And she treats him just like any other man, which shocks him and surprises him, since most people probably try to avoid him. And this is the turning point of the movie, because this guy cannot believe that a woman like Scarlett Johansson would want to have anything to do with him. And she begins to have sympathy for humanity. And her objective changes. So she tries to let the man go, and he's running in the field naked. But then he's quickly picked up and killed by Johansson's accomplice, the guy on the motorcycle. I'm looking through these pictures. I don't see a picture of the guy on the motorcycle, but he's definitely a part of the movie, riding around, cleaning up her messes, right? So at this point, Scarlett Johansson begins to fall apart. Things get really weird. Basically, she overdoses on the human experience. She can no longer deal with it. It's too messed up. It's too much stimuli. She begins to self-destruct. At a certain point in the movie, she's almost sexually assaulted by a logger who encounters her in the forest. But the encounter is interrupted when the logger, as he's basically on top of her, he tears part of her human skin away to reveal the black figure underneath. And I've got this final clip. Like I said, I didn't want to show you the whole thing, but I'm showing you this part. This is just after she's assaulted. She's in the forest. her skin begins to peel away. The logger jumps up and he's like, what the heck is this? And then the black figure appears. Now, the whole film trope here is that there are aliens among us walking around in plain sight, and we have no idea. And they're concealed in some way, right? They're in disguise. Now, at this point, the logger is horrified, and he pours gasoline on her and lights her on fire. Watch.
Quite scandalous. Oh my God!
So that's her looking at herself, the alien inside looking at the skin. Now, there's multiple levels to this, okay? The duality, the black versus white. There's multiple levels to this outside of fire and ice. Let's keep watching here. Here comes the logger. He's like, what the heck is this? Pours gasoline on her. Lights. Where does she go? Into the ice. Straight up fire and ice. Now, again, let me go back into the chat, make sure you guys are with me. We've been talking about the fire and ice for weeks, haven't we? Nobody knew that all the Super Bowl ads were going to be about fire and ice. So apparently, God has revealed this to us, correct? Based on the decode we did on the Super Bowl yesterday. So this is significant. This is tantamount to some of the more major discoveries on this channel. Now let's keep going with this. This is just unreal. Lights are on fire. She walks into the snow. She then falls down into the snow, into this pile, and begins to just keep burning. The soot then goes up into the air and falls back down as black snow. And this is the trope. This is what they're going to say this new disease X is going to come from. They're going to say it came from a comet, some ancient pathogen. Think about it. Think about it. They're programming us with all this permafrost stuff, right? Permafrost pathogens, permafrost. Well, and then they've told us that comets are ice. So how easy would it be for them to say, oh, there's some ancient, virus that's inside these comets that is now falling on Earth, and this is what's causing everyone to get sick. Let's keep watching. Now, if you're new to the channel, the reason why I'm pausing so much is for copyright. This is how we can get away with playing some of this content without catching a copyright. So apologies for that. So there she falls into the pile, the black soot going up into the air. So here's the motorcycle guy that's been following her around, and he's obviously one of them. And that almost looks more like, that could be snow, but it could be ice falling as well, right? And here comes the black soot falling back out of the air. Now, the suggestion here is an inversion ritual. Instead of aliens infecting humanity, the alien is infected by humanity. And so the origin suggested here has to be a comet or eclipse, ice and fire. And so the ice and fire event, just weeks away, the devil comet, they've been calling it, and the April 8th eclipse will happen in tandem. We will be watching this. Now, many people, let's get back to the Super Bowl, because many people noticed Ice Spice standing next to Taylor Swift. This is her here. And people noticed the inverted cross she was wearing, and also the hand signals she was flashing, the devil horn hand signals. And there's much more to this than meets the eye. And with a little bit of research, this is what I'm going to present to you next. And I couldn't believe what I'm about to show you. Because Ice Spice, remember, the entire world was watching this trio. Whether you like them or hate them, the entire world was watching this trio. This was done on purpose, as I'm going to demonstrate to you today, as an occult ritual. Even Taylor Swift with Kelsey is part of the ritual to get her center stage for the world to watch her. So the football player is being used to communicate what I'm going to show you next. Because ice and fire is in this woman's name, Ice Spice. Her hair is the fire, and her name is the ice. But this goes even a couple levels deeper, because I'm going to invert her name, Spice, in the chat. This is where we get into you guys, the super sleuths out there. Spice is that's the word spice backwards. What does that spell to you? What does that spell to you? Let's go into the chat. Good morning, everybody. Unbelievable. I know I say that a lot, but when I say it, it means something. There you go. Sheldon got it. Her name backwards almost spells eclipse. That's not an accident, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. These artists are given their personas long in advance to further the dark spiritual agenda. In fact, many of them may have been born into it. Now, I dug into this because you can't just say her name is Eclipse backwards and call it a day. You have to sift through this and sort it out. Ice Spice, the Fire and Ice rapper, her original name was Isis. Isis is the moon goddess. The moon goddess, who is the counterpart of Artemis. You can't make this up. You can't stretch it. Who is Artemis? Artemis is Apollo's twin sister. Everything we've been talking about on the channel for at least 3 or 4 years now. And Isis is the moon goddess, counterpart of Artemis.
So just to add to that, we could go back really fast again one more time to the stream from the other day. And in the comments, shout out again to Travis and Don and Patrick there. But yeah, as you can see here in the comments, the eclipse, significance with the eclipse and the superb owl. Let me make sure I'm coming in here. Yeah, so the significance, of course, would be that from the date of the December 14th, 2020 Jabiru rollout to the April 8th eclipse coming up is exactly 1,211 days, like 2/11, the superb owl date. And I also found if you take 1,211, 12 reduces to 3, like 311, like how the eclipse, or sorry, like how the superb owl was 2/11, exactly 3 years and 11 months after 3/11, which was the U.S. Convid declaration date. And 113 is a number associated with deception, but that's for another time. But for anyone who's not aware of how that is, it's because everything related to deception equals 113. Not true equals 113. Not honest or dishonest equals 113. Forgery, fraudulent, fraud, all these things equal 113. Not honest. 113, see? Not true. 113. It goes on and on, but I'll leave it there. Get back to the video here before we get too far off on a tangent.
Everything we've been talking about on the channel for at least 3 or 4 years now. And Isis is the moon goddess, counterpart of Artemis. Isis was often characterized as a moon goddess, paralleling the solar characteristics of Serapis. She was also seen as a cosmic goddess more generally. Various texts claim she organized the behavior of the sun, moon, and stars, governing time and the seasons, which in turn guaranteed the fertility of Earth, or in a giant fertility ritual. And remember when yesterday's Decode, I showed you Scarlett Johansson in the M&M's commercial wearing the starry shirt, blouse, or whatever you want to call it? Well, this is all about the cosmos. Now, let's keep going with this because there's even more evidence, because the plot thickens when you consider Ice Spice's hair. Let's take another look. Remember, her name was Isis. Her name, Spice backwards, is Eclipse. So her face becomes the sun. I mean the moon. Her hair becomes the sun. Essentially what you're looking at here is an eclipse. And look at her website.
I buy the same products you do, only I get them much cheaper. I save hundreds of dollars a month by
all pink, a crenodrome. Now, she did a music video with Taylor Swift, and this is probably why she was featured next to her. And I have not seen this music video. We are going to decode this live together. This is from Taylor Swift's Karma music video. And look at what we have here. The same solar boat from I Pet Goat 2 that we've also been decoding at length, haven't we? There's something to this solar boat. Here's the solar boat from My Pet Goat 2 with the burning heart Antichrist Jesus figure from the New Fire ceremony, the burning heart in the chest every 52 years. And this is the song that Taylor Swift did with Ice Spice. Now, before we get into this and decode it, because I have not seen this yet, we're going to watch it together. I'm going to turn the sound off. We're going to be pausing it frequently so we don't catch a copyright. That's how we're going to deal with this. But before we look at this music video, Karma. This song released on the highest day of Illuminati sacrifice, May 1st, and also the witch's calendar sacrifice date. And the remix of the song, which is what we're going to watch now, was done with Ice Spice, as we said, and that song was 3:22 Skull and Bones minutes long. The song was played heavily during Taylor Swift's Erase Your Brain tour, is what it's now being known as many people who went to the concert, the Eras tour, the Erase Your Brain tour, could not remember the concert, and they came up with all kinds of excuses as to why that happened, but in the end, something was not right. Well, let's play this video. Let's see what we find here, as Taylor Swift is in the solar boat with Ice Spice, which we now know is Isis. She's the eclipse, Artemis. It's all everything we've been talking about. I'm turning the sound off. First thing we have is a blue record. Whoa. Okay. So off the bat, okay. Remember, records are spirals. It's one long spiral, single line going from the outside to the inside. And we exposed many times that the rings of Saturn, or the outer ring of Saturn, is not a ring at all. It's actually a spiral. It's called the F ring, conveniently, which is the 6th letter of the alphabet. And you can look this up. It's well known that the outer ring is not a ring. It's a spiral. It spirals around the outside of Saturn like a record player. Let's keep watching here. Gosh, already loaded. So the record's playing, and there you go. They show, whoa, they show the spiral, which of course is a portal. What the heck? So you got some blue magic going on, some pink going on, and then the sun. I wonder what role Taylor Swift actually plays in the occult. Is she the sun? And Ice Spice the moon? I guess we're going to find out here. Whoa, she's holding the scales of justice. The scales of justice. Now let's kind of do some of this decode together. What do the scales of justice mean to you guys? Let's go into the chat here. I mean, what comes to mind immediately for me is Ain't Justice for All, like Metallica. There may be more to it. Tribe of Dan had scales as well. Let's see. Anybody have any ideas on the scales of justice before we keep playing this video here? Judgment, Sheldon says. Okay, thank you. She's playing Isis. Wait, but we just said that Ice Spice is Isis. Who's Taylor Swift, though? Oh, let me just keep playing this. Okay, so unbelievable. Okay, so she's in like so she's in an arch, which is kind of like a portal. 2, 3. Whoa, then you get an inversion, as above, so below, right? So there's your upside down. And whoa, we go right into some demons. What the heck is going on here? So it's heaven and hell, and then it flips again, and then we're back on the light side. Whoa, duality, fire and ice. Once again, right? Hell and heaven. Crowed. So this is the Wizard of Oz, isn't it? Yellow beret, okay. Pink tree, like pink adrenochrome. Whoa, apple tree. Oh my goodness. So this is the magic they're using through the portal of the hourglass, the sands of time. So I guess this is Aphrodite. Is this what you guys are picking up here? Aphrodite inside the shell. Another iPad Goat 2 trope as well. Let me show you that.
What if is a symptom that torments individuals with OCD?
What if I never feel just right?
What if I bring COVID?
In the gallery here. There it is. There she is in the shell, right? Sitting in the shell. This is obviously connected to this as well. Let's keep watching. All these okay, pearl. So remember, we've talked about pearls. This is the clean inside the unclean, right? Because shells are unclean. Pearls are clean. Why do we know pearls are clean? Because there will be pearls in the gates of heaven. God would not put something unclean in the gates of heaven, in the New Jerusalem, right? So we've talked about this. The pearl at great price. The pearl is actually represented by your pineal gland, which can calcify like a pearl. And it is the seat of where the Holy Spirit sits inside of you. The seat of God inside of you. Not that we're gods, but you get what I'm saying. How Jesus interacts with us, how God interacts with us. There's only one way to the Father, and that is through the Son. So we've broken down this whole trope about pearls inside of unclean shells. This is a metaphor for our temples. We are unclean on the outside, made clean by God interacting inside of us, right? And being saved through him. So that's what this all means here. So she's holding this pearl, except the pearl isn't the color it's supposed to be. It's a pink color. So this is maybe the devil's version because their color is pink, like a cranodrome. Let's keep watching here. I don't want to get too bogged down on this, but I do want to give it the justice that it deserves to try to break all this down. So there she is inside here. The pearl floats away, and I can't even believe this. Unbelievable. So whatever she's singing, I should probably put the lyrics on here. Maybe that could tie into this. And the auditory can link together to give us more understanding about what exactly they're getting at. It's like your Uranus. Then this other, is that her again? Okay, that's her. She's in a light bulb now, holding the filament to the light bulb. Karma's going to track you down. Oh, there she becomes part of the earth. What is this, like Mother Earth program? Remember, this is a fertility ritual. So she becomes the mountain. Then it even has hints at fertility in it, doesn't it? Because this is the center of the Vesica Pisces. As we've showed you, when Jesus said, cast your net to the right side of the boat, and 153 fish came in, that image is of the Vesica Pisces, because when a man throws a net from the boat, it opens up like a circle. So it's the right side of the Vesica Pisces. This has always been about the dueling seeds, the seed of Christ and the seed of the serpent, the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Because Christ came from the seed of the woman, the pure seed, right? And so this to me looks like the center of the Vesica Pisces, fertility. The camera then zooms out. Let's see what happens here, up into the clouds. And we're in a clock. This is time in a portal. We are born into the matrix. In the Bible, they call the womb the matrix. It's actually, that's the word for it in the Bible. She's got one black nail polish and one blue nail polish on the thumb. And it's 3 minutes to midnight, it looks like. And it's inside a cup of coffee. Then there's the piano, the 88 keys of the piano. 88 is also time and space. So you have the coffee next to the piano. The clock, coffee next to the piano, time and space, 88. What else? Okay, this is almost the end of this music video. Can't believe how full this thing is. I guess that's it. That's the end of the music video. Unbelievable. Now I'm going to check with you guys. And then we're going to go back to 2020, 4 years ago. Look at this. We detected video and you're belonging to someone else. Even when we play it under fair use, they've already detected it. The algorithms, unreal. So we're going to go back to 2020, 4 years ago. And I'm going to show you a video that we did already talking about fire and ice and eclipses. Let's take a look, you guys. This is from 4 years ago. Now, this is my son, Max, when he was a baby. Maybe you'll remember this video. Let's play some of this. The show just by saying, you guys are amazing. I love each and every one of you. All the love and support I get on this channel and the love and support that you show to each other is what's most important. Appreciate all of the love and support. Very special boy. So his birthday, now I'm fast forwarding through this so we can get to the meat of this. They just passed, my children who I love. Very proud. It's important that we recap this because this is very, very important. So in 2019, before the spamdemic hit, Google teams up with one of the largest healthcare providers in America, just in time to be exempted from HIPAA violations through the national emergency that Trump signed in March of this year on Friday the 13th. And what that did, it would allow them to upload everyone's personal medical information to the cloud without their permission. It also enabled...
There's this new way to get AI in just about any app that you use. You can combine AI.
Google through this artificial intelligence software to recommend patient care to their doctors through this algorithm. And it left an open end to later, if they wanted to, market back to millions of patients based on their medical condition. This is real, not a conspiracy. Now to top it off, they named the project Project Nightingale, possibly after this woman, Florence Nightingale. She was one of the first real nurses. And she was a pioneer in data visualization with the use of what they call infographics. Basically, what they did, this is basically what she invented back in the 1800s. They used graphical representations of statistical data. Here's an actual CV19 map using her actual graph, infographics. Now, rewind. This Project Nightingale was named months before the CV ever even hit China. It wasn't even thought of yet. But yet, they named this project after this woman who was heavily involved in all kinds of spamdemics in the 1800s. That's what she was known for. Now, much of her writing included her extensive work on religion and mysticism. She was basically credited with reducing the death rate from 42% to 2%, either by making improvements in hygiene herself. Hello, and I couldn't find any information on masks and her wearing masks back then. But she called for a sanitary commission. She implemented hand washing and other hygiene practices in the war hospital in which she worked. Now, she is said to have denied the theory of infection for her entire life. But then there was a 2008 biography that came out saying that she was simply opposed to the precursor of germ theory known as contagionism. Is this giving you chills right now? Because it gave me chills once we dug into this. Now, her theory held that diseases could only be transmitted by touch. She wrote an essay named Cassandra, which was the princess of Troy, who served as priestess in the temple of Apollo. Remember I told you this was all about sun worship? This was 4 years ago, you guys. 4 years ago, and it's all coming back full circle. Now, in that story of Cassandra and Troy and Apollo, the god gave her the gift of prophecy, but when she refused his advances, he cursed her so that her prophetic warnings would go unheeded. Chilling. Now, despite her intense personal devotion to Christ, Nightingale believed for much of her life that the pagan and Eastern religions had also contained genuine revelation. I'm starting to really feel that Google named that project after this woman, in which they grouped up with Ascension, the largest hospital, one of the largest hospital systems in America, to upload millions of people's personal medical information to the cloud. Now, here's where things get interesting, because during the CV-19 spamdemic, a number of temporary NHS Nightingale hospitals were set up in readiness for an expected rise in the number of patients needing critical care. The first was housed in the Excel, London, and several others followed across England. This woman is huge in England. She is British. Look at this. Doctors wear Florist Nightingale mask to mark her 200th birthday. So not only do we have Project Nightingale named after this woman, we have her 200th birthday being on May 12th, right in the midst of the spamdemic. Is that an accident? And these doctors wore these masks to commemorate that. All of this before anything ever happened. I mean, think of the odds of them naming this project after this woman who was the first person to graph out epidemics mathematically. Crazy. Here's an image. Here's our Wikipedia page, Florence Nightingale. So now we'll move on to the next part of the show, and that is these smiley faces. Now, we started noticing these smiley faces everywhere, on everything, and we couldn't quite figure out what it was, but then we tied the smiley face to the path of the eclipse that happened in December. Now I'm going to slow down here and be very clear, because this is very, very important. This is the eclipse on the left that happened in December 26th. Now, it seems stupid at first, but now we see that this eclipse marked the exact day that CV was given its name. Some of the first cases were happening in China, and on this exact day, if you look at the timeline and type in December 26th, CV, you will see that it was named on that day. And we also noticed that this winter eclipse tied into this, and it occurred on just the day after Apollo's birthday, and that it formed a pair with another eclipse that it's going to be happening in just a few days on the summer solstice. Winter, summer, ice, fire. Then I started thinking to myself, where have I heard this before? Game of Thrones. Now, this is going to blow you away, even if you're not a Game of Thrones fan or you don't watch Game of Thrones or never watched it. What did it go, 8 seasons? It's one of those popular series on television and cable. Game of Thrones. Fire and ice. Now, oftentimes, Game of Thrones is abbreviated GOT, right? Not GT, GOT. So when you spell that backwards, what does it say? TOG, right? Remember this campaign? Together at Home? TOG? This was the celebrity campaign that tried to convince all of us that we should be happy staying at home. In fact, Lady Gaga sang the song Smile. Smile by Charlie Chaplin. And we saw Charlie Chaplin featured in the Joker film, and it was all about everything that's happening right now, chaos in the streets. So I started thinking more about Game of Thrones, and that the whole theme was about submission, bending the knee. Here's some images of Jon Snow, which was the character in Game of Thrones, and he was supposed to bend the knee to the Dragon Queen, right? This is her here. And he just decided he wasn't going to do it. Something in his heart told him, don't do it. And now all of a sudden, everyone is bending the knee, right? So I started thinking about eclipses in Game of Thrones, because, you know, if this is going to fit, it's going to all fit, right? And on the surface, it doesn't seem like there's any eclipse appearances in Game of Thrones, but if you think about it outside the box, you understand that this long winter, they kept talking about winter is coming, winter is coming. Was that some sort of extended eclipse? The extended winter that brought about what in the series? The White Walkers, which is like an infection, because when they kill you, you join the army of the dead. It was like a spamdemic that would consume the world. And they depicted the characters as trying to get past their differences to unite against the spamdemic of White Walkers. Unbelievable. Now, here's some images of the White Walkers, and it was indeed a spamdemic. They kept talking about how if they didn't do something and unite together, the whole world would be consumed by the White Walkers, the army of the dead. Oh, but it goes further. All the pieces are here. Pre-programming for exactly what we're going through right now. Remember Jon Snow's little sister, Arya? What did she do? She wore masks, and she would kill people by wearing masks and disguises. Many faces. Here's her in the Hall of Many Faces. This is all of us wearing masks. And remember, part of her training was they kept asking her, what is your name? And she kept getting it wrong. And finally, the only correct answer was no one. I'm no one. Dissociative identity. This is what they're trying to achieve with these masks. We are no one when we wear a mask. Now, someone had posted something on my Facebook showing how even in the times of slavery, they put them in masks. And if I don't mention it in this show from 2020, her sword was called Needle, like the needles. It's basically a humiliation ritual. So what's this really all about?
Barbie is
So much more than that.
Let us show you.
I believe it's sun worship. And what better time for a spamdemic than during an eclipse? So the ice represented the start on the winter solstice, and the summer solstice marked the controlled reopening. If you look in the news headlines, they're saying that this June 21st, just a couple days away, will mark the beginnings of the reopening, but under their control. And they have the entire world under control. Eclipses across the world under control. Now, it's weird because the smile now, cry later, these two eclipses, this pair of eclipses, they're about 5 months apart. They basically go right underneath China. This eclipse happening in a few days goes right through China. So you got to ask yourself, I should look at the eclipse path and see if this eclipse actually goes through Wuhan. That would be very interesting. It looks like it's pretty close. I'll have to take a look. So, were we seeing smiley faces being used as a symbol before, during, and after the spamdemic? Of course we were. We've covered lots of this at length on other live shows on this channel, but I found a few more that I want to share with you right now. This is Avril Lavigne, or I think that's how you pronounce her name. And she did a music video and a song. Remember Blind 11 happened 19 years ago? And Blind 11 in reverse is 119 or 19. That's what we call a mirror or a loop. You can even refer to it as a time loop. Well, this song by Avril Lavigne happened 9 years ago in 2011. Another Blind 11 synchronicity. The song is called Smile. Here are some screenshots. We know that green represents sickness. And in this shot, XIX becomes the Roman numeral of 19. Her body, her in the middle, forms the letter I. Now, if you think this is silly, stay with me. Because when you look at the lyrics to this song, she says the word I 19 times. Yeah. Outside of the chorus. So you've got this chorus where she's singing. I'm not going to play the song because it'll get stuck in your head. I smile. So she says that. But outside of this chorus, there she says the word I 19 times. And if you're still not convinced, look at the back of this police car in the video. 0379. That adds up to 19. Now, what is this? Is this some kind of coincidence that I just happened to find? No. All I did was type in smile, songs, and movies. This was the first one that came up. And this is what I found. It's not like you have to dig for hours and hours and hours to find this stuff. It's sitting right out there in plain sight. This is what's called media entertainment sorcery. And the people behind this do this on purpose. It's called disclosure. It's called fictionalizing the truth about something that they plan to do, so that when they do it, subliminally, you will write that off. Any theories about what the truth is about that event, you'll write that off subliminally as not true, as fiction. Now look at this story from a Business Insider. We're talking about smiles, right? They've got these clear face masks. For what? Making it easier to smile. Not easier to see people's facial expressions, but to smile. It's all about smiling. Because it's the eclipse. That's what it's about. It's sun worship. Look at this. Cuomo had some contest, right? For public announcement. It's called the Wear a Mask New York Ad Contest. And these people came together, and just so happens that one of the winners, 2 winning videos, one of them was You Can Still Smile by Natalia Wojadelis and Emery Parker. Now, the interesting thing about this song that won the ad contest is nowhere in here do they talk about smiling. I've got it right here. It says right here, You Can Still Smile. They got the video here. Nowhere in here do they talk about smiling. But yet, the name of the song is Smile. Almost like they just pinned that on there. This stuff is very important to these people. They've got to maintain the numerology and all this stuff. Here's the ad here. So this is playing as a public service announcement in New York. It's got everybody freaked out. So obviously, oh, you guys can't hear that either. I think I turned the volume down. Anyway, they just say that all the reasons why to wear a mask is what the public service announcement is. Brainwashing. So here we are with this impending VC just around the corner, either the end of this year. My guess is it'll be a nice little Christmas present. We've got no clear direction or information about how this whole, and that's exactly when the vaccine came out. It was the following Christmas. So I guess I was right about that. Thing will roll out, or who will be forced to take it. And American life has changed forever. We've got 5G waves infrastructure being built up all around us, strengthening the virtual fence of the technocracy. We've got the bedrock of America, small businesses and infrastructure crumbling around us, and the elite beginning to try and pin the tail on why they can't get past this. They're trying to pin that on all of us, those who resist. And they're doing a good job of it, dividing us amongst ourselves. Now, in hindsight, looking at everything that we've just covered, I believe that CB, to a certain extent, is real. A virulent flu made in a lab that was designed to decimate a group of people, the elderly, to course correct the impending Medicare bankruptcy. Why do you think Google was plugged into this Ascension project, Project Nightingale? Because they want to control how doctors prescribe medicine. The AI was giving them suggestions on treatments right through their computers. And do you think that they don't take into account life expectancy, all the other information that Google has on that particular person? Do you think that data was not dovetailed into their treatment? The treatment recommendations Of course it was. That's what Google's about, data and information. So I believe that what they're telling us, how this is all passed along to each other, is false. These are my beliefs. And that's just another mechanism for more control. And they use this fear, they harnessed it to expand the assault on small businesses, the economy, personal freedoms. You guys, what we're going through fueled some of the most effective division that I've ever seen. Brother against brother, child against mother. And I believe we're on a slow burn to a third world country. The controlled demolition of America. And almost nobody is seeing what's happening. And just like any battle, wave after wave will come, sealing the final nails in the coffin. And too many people are still asleep, buying the lie. We played right into their hands. But for those of us that are believers, we know that all of this has to happen. It is written. So no fear. Stick to your morals. Follow Christ's example always in everything that you do to the best of your ability. Respect others' wishes, but also never give away your values. Believe it or not, if you just do that one thing, that's the most effective thing that you can do to try and turn the tide. We already know the tide won't probably turn. There's a lot of blood on our hands in this country, but we are promised deliverance from the plagues and the things that are to come if you stay your ground. But if you're still believing in these leaders on either side of the aisle, you need to go to God with that, because there's something wrong. All right, let's go into the chat here. That was pretty much the show this morning. You guys, I'm working on, I ordered a mic. That's not like a super expensive mic. It was just like, I think it was like 25, 30 bucks on Amazon. So that was me speaking from 4 years ago. And wow, around June, I guess it was, around my son's birthday. And sure enough, they came out with the vaccine and during Christmas, as we said, of 2020. And so much has happened with the ice and fire, which is now coming back full circle. Let me go into the chat for a little bit. I'm live again with you guys. And wow, just unbelievable. I'm just got chills from just listening to that. How Project Nightingale came out before the pandemic ever even started. And they were all set up to upload information to the cloud. Just crazy. Just crazy. All right. I appreciate you guys too. Thanks, ain't buying it. Want to decode Robert Frost Fire and Ice. Was the mic? Yeah, the mic, definitely improved things. As you can hear, I'm on a new mic now. That same mic that I got from 4 years ago, actually, and it actually changed, I believe, the course of this channel because the sound is much more clear without all the background noise and staticky sound and everything. So, yeah. It just shocks me how asleep the world is. I mean, even I went over to some friends to watch the Super Bowl to gather information, and you know, the Sphere came up in Vegas, and they're like, "Yeah, that thing's really cool. It'd be neat to go to." It just makes me sad that so many people are asleep. And I just look around and I go, wow, these people have no idea. They have no idea. And, you know, you don't want to bring something like that up around because then you'll be the weird guy, right? You just hope that you hear them say something that starts to wake them up and then you can expand on that. That's kind of how I approach trying to wake people up, you know? I think people just don't like to think about the truth about our country and the reality of it. They'd rather be in this bliss, a false rapture of reality where they think everything's positive, right? And if I just make more money, I can have more fun in life. This is how people think and believe, you know? So, yeah, the Friday the 13th of March 2020, I mentioned that in the show from 4 years ago. Yep. Yeah. All right, you guys, well, I'm going to pop off of here. Probably be back tomorrow with some coffee talk headlines, possibly even more Honey Milk Ranch footage. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Much love, everybody. Take care.
When you build your online store with GoDaddy, it's easy to sell everywhere your customers shop. List and sync products on your website with online marketplaces to create multiple listings at the same time. Track orders and inventory across channels to avoid overselling.
All right, y'all. What do y'all think of that? It looks like Mr. Young says everything's a psyop. Everything's a tool of the ruling elite. That is true, sir. Some might say. I guess we could watch a short from well, it's not really short actually. From Mr. JW. I know I said it would be the last video, but I might as well play one more. On topic. Satan loves when you vent, the heart, mind, and tongue connection, and the demonic. Never seen this channel. So there are some fear porn elements to Mr. JW's stuff. Like most people with a booming so-called hashtag truther channel. But regardless, still some good information. And like everything, eat the fruit and spit out the pit. Looks like he's coming up on 98,000 subs. He's been at it for quite a long time, though, I will say that much. I never did really get to cover much of the Chile optics. Seems much similar to very similar to the Maui event. Strange events, strange reveal about March 14th that no one knows. Of course, March 14th being the pi date, 3.14. Sheriff prepare Americans for coming disaster 2024. Sheriff from Ohio. Bubonic plague in Oregon. Strange events happening. A fog blanket. This fog blanketed every city in the U.S. People reveal strange things. Next. All right, we'll watch this one. Next pandemic defense plan. 99% won't know 2024.
A lot of people tell us you finally explained trading to me in a way I could understand. Then they start.
Next. Always got to have a good ad. Always got to promote the Patreon too at the beginning of the video.
All right. Next pandemic defense plan. I want to leave you with some really helpful information here on Patreon. First off, they're coming out with their studies, their information, and saying that COVID could trigger heart failure pandemic. Health experts warn of global healthcare risk after New Year's. And we found two things that actually can help largely. Remember, at the end of this video, just during the video, put questions you have, something that's maybe happening, I'll answer it at the end of this video. And like we told you, the children of the Nazis was educated in El Paso. I didn't go deeper into it on YouTube, but professor and author Dr. Joanna examined the history of children of Nazi scientists educated in El Paso, compared education to that received by Mexican American children. Here we go, all the notification sounds again. I should have turned that off. Forgot to do it. But anyway, by Mexican American children in the community post World War II, Casey Counts talks with Dr. And we're going to the next part here. It says enemy teaching Nazis and Mexicans in the Cold War borderlands, which has been awarded by Southern Book Award by Border Regional Library Association and Bolton Cutter Prize from Western History Association. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you into the extracts from plants that was found that is highly helpful in the scenario what we're going to be dealing with coming in next. So this is the extracts that they found in the study. And this study has not been put out at large. They fear tactic you in the study too. So we're going to get you past that. Extracts from 2 wild plants inhibit C19 virus, study finds. Botanical extracts search for potency against the virus. And basically they went into nature and they found out that obviously nature has everything for us. 2 common wild plants contain extracts that inhibit the ability of the virus that causes C19 to infect living cells. Emory University study finds. And the reason why this is important is because they're releasing different strands of this thing. Like we said, down the line of this, if it triggers, the VX triggers the heart failure, you got to understand that we're dealing with something totally different that they're weaponizing. So we do need to know exactly how to target whatever we're going through right now. That's why I'm bringing this up. So what is this plant extract and what is it specifically called? Laboratory dish test extracts from flowers of tall goldenrod, and that's the scientific name for it, Soldago autissimia, and then rhizomes of the eagle fern. Each blocked SARS-CoV-2 from entering human cells. It blocked it. And think about it, zinc is supposed to block stuff from going to your cells, but this specifically blocked the weaponized version of whatever they were basically putting out, which basically, like I said, a lot of people are getting sick and stuff been happening where you're not used to this because it's not the same common cold. You know, we talked about the common cold, but this is a new strand of this common cold where down the line they're activating different things, and they basically said within whatever was in that vax, something was activated again, and that's exactly why we're trying to get into this right now, because we don't need something dormant to activate in us. We need to get rid of it at large. What's going on, Pamela? Appreciate you tuning in. All right, so going into this is what the plants are. Eagle fern is one of the plants. If you're in nature and you see eagle fern and you know how to scientifically break down these things, perfect. If you don't, we'll help you out too. Late goldenrod. This is in North America, but it's also all across Canada as well. So again, these two plants here are highly important against this weaponized attack. So here's what we're going to do. Since we can look at that, and in the study, they try to scare you and say, well, watch out. They could be toxic. And so basically, let's go into it. People are selling these and they're not toxic because they know how to actually break things down. You have it in herbal. The goldenrod is in herbal teas. We have people selling in drips. So what I'm saying is this is highly important right now because this will be a first-hand direct help for you. Eagle fern also, people have that. They mix it with honey elixir, infuse with the flour, and they're saying you take 5 drops a day. To me, I don't usually take as many drops on a bottle because they usually say that to get you to keep buying more because I want to reserve mine. So this is some really important stuff that basically could get you ahead of a lot of people, and you can even help your family members out and tell them about this stuff. I'm going to get into some other stuff. The bigger thing that I do all the time that I don't talk about really on YouTube is basically letting the body have its cycle of regeneration, tissue regeneration, and activating our stem cells. It only takes about 15 to 30 minutes to do it. And the thing is, exercise is highly important. I'm always doing it. Me and my woman, we're constantly doing this 4 times a week at most. We don't overextend and try to like go super hard and think like, oh, it's all about going hard. It's all about longevity. So we're activating our anti-aging stem cells, we're exercising and muscle repair. And that means that you're not damaging your muscles. And when your lactic acid builds up and you're in there and you're feeling your muscles burn more than at least 15 to 30 seconds, you're going to start that point to where you're starting to damage your muscles. So if you want those stem cells to activate, it's not about damaging them, but it's about just getting some tension with them and also getting just a little bit of activation, getting that heart rhythm up, and that's activating stem cells, which in turn help with a lot of different situations that we're dealing with, as long as you're not next to a cell tower because you're absorbing millimeter wave radiation in your skin. So remember, be mindful of where you're exercising. Same thing with the Wi-Fi and stuff like that. It's important for us to inhale and get good oxygen. Now, here's a cool technology. I think that it could be very important, and it's called the atmospheric water generator. Sure, it's 1,900, but I'm just saying in the future, just something that you could think about. Is this thing pulls water from the air, you know, and it's like, you know how you see those dispensers you walk up to where they're dispensing water and they have a bottle at the top? This doesn't even need that. To me, this technology right here is really important for a save up. Saving up money management is highly important. I'm putting this on my list for sure, and it newly expose you to some of the new stuff that's coming out right now because I believe that our health is so important. It's another huge thing that I want to, because I told you this is about not just us getting healthier. And remember everything that I told you about, like all these plants. You have to look into it yourself, make sure you don't have any reactions to stuff like that. It's totally on you. I'm just giving educational information here. And going into this next part, this is going to be something that after all the toxic cycles of news and all the stuff you hear in the world, this is something for your mental health that really could increase like a lot of the cognitive abilities you have. Silence. And it's a study come out talking about the power of the quiet for the brain health. So this is important because we get in these noisy environments, and it's come out. Research indicates that silence has a profound impact on our brain, providing much needed relief from constant barrage of noise in our modern lives. And you didn't know that noise was such a triggering thing until you look into this. Noise actually has a powerful physical effect on our brains. It causes elevated levels of stress hormones, which can be detrimental to our health. When we're exposed to noise, it travels to the brain in electrical signals through the ear, activating amygdala. I think that's how you say it. A part of the brain associated with memory and emotion. And so moving further into it, it says, this activation leads to the release of stress hormones even when we are asleep. So when you're asleep, if you're leaving TVs on and stuff like that, it's still affecting you in ways you don't know. Living in a constant noisy environment can result in chronically high levels of harmful hormones. Noise pollution has been linked to various health issues, including high blood pressure, heart disease, tinnitus, whatever the stuff you hear that's ringing in your ear, and loss of sleep. Studies have shown that children exposed to noise like airport noise can develop stress response that cause them to ignore not only harmful stimuli, but also important stimuli like speech. So in the opposite way, though, on the other hand, silence has the opposite effect on our brains. It relieves stress, tension in both the brain and body. Silence replenishes our cognitive resources, allowing our brain to recover and restore some of its capabilities lost to excessive noise. Fascinating aspect of silence is the ability to promote the development of new cells in the hippocampus, a key region of the brain associated with memory. So it's actually helping the development of cells when you just have moments of silence. And that's just all you need sometimes. Sometimes it's a moment of silence away from everything. A moment of silence. You know, back in the old days, people would go into the forest, into nature, get away and go into silence. A lot of monks would do that. And I mean, even biblically it shows that people go to caves and stuff like that. They get in these silent areas because they want that relief, and they knew probably about these benefits. This is something we should incorporate into our mental health evaluation of ourselves, because we're constantly barraged by all these different things we're doing. We're never just sitting in a moment of silence and enjoying and not overthinking everything, because overthinking is another part of the aspect that actually brings down the health as well.
When the zombie apocalypse is upon us, it helps to have a mic for a roommate. Lemonade that hits harder.
Hey, you found him. I got you something.
Whoa! Mics that go harder.
Thanks, man.
The world needs more mics.
Yeah, I tend to find some of his stuff kind of goofy as well at times. But what can I say? All right, folks, it's 4:30 a.m. I think it is about the time to not only allow myself to get some rest, but allow you all as well to get some rest. It isn't wise to promote such nocturnal nonsense and metaversal malarkey and Skynet shenanigans, as I like to put it. Looks like the Machine Lies is live, so you can go over there. It looks like Mr. Andreas Zertis is live. You can go over there as well. Let's see what they're talking about.
So
before I
I'm just
log off.
like I'm like in a total trance. I'm like total in a sink of depression, and then I have piles of my notes. So I don't know when I'm gonna start writing. You know, I already have half of the book written. So I mean, the second book is like I mean, it's crazy. I mean, because it's about philosophy of technology, you know, which is the other subject we cover here. You know, actually, most of the show's been about, you know, philosophy of technology, at least the main episodes. You know, so I mean, it is, you know, I mean, this is just because I only have 2 episodes for the religious side, so I've developed a lot of material to deal with the religious aspect of things, and
Right.
also I guess to promote my book. I mean, I don't. It's not much of a promotion. Nobody is, you know. It's you know, you get like $4 for every copy you sell, anyways. It's not like really you make a lot of money, you know, unless like millions of people would have bought it or something, you know. But
All right, so they're about
Lennar
to,
has a
I
hot
guess, I don't know if
selection of
it's
homes
turned
for
down
sale
or what,
right
but go check out the Machine Lies if you're interested there.
Liberals got to like actually having some like real like cohesive thing to like to because it ended up backfiring, because that's the nature of the thing. It's like you if you're really following it, then you're forced to reflect, and it's like what's that?
Oh,
God hates flags.
he just sent me the gender wiki, and it's got all the different genders that you can have, but I haven't added Dixie Curious yet, so I'll have to work on that. But before we do this, let me preface this with a question for you, Czar. It used to be not a big deal to be whatever you want to be a unicorn, because it was harmless, right? Because in practice, there's no consequences to imagine.
All right, this guy in the bottom left is making me feel uncomfortable, and I think it is about that time, folks. Yeah, it's about that time. 3 hours and 22 minutes. Oh, you don't want to end at 3:22. You also have to get to sleep. Well, there you go. There you go. I guess I could give you one last thing just to kind of end on a high note. Since I never did play any. Oh, I never did read any of this either. I never played this one. I wanted to play this one also. Well, that's too bad. Do I really want to play this is the question. Oh, wow. This looks like it goes into the deeper meaning of the Mandela effect with the Mandorla, the Vesica Pisces, the Mandala or Magdala, like Magdalene, and the amygdala, like Amon, the mudra. Interesting. A lot of symbolism there just in this one meme. Flower Life, OTO, Vesica Pisces, Shekinah, Fibonacci, Under Armour, Chanel, Cool, Gucci. Interesting. Even some My Pet Goat. Oh man, now I kind of want to watch it since it's got the My Pet Goat in lieu of what we've been seeing lately. And was that Taylor's fucking Swift too, man? All the synchronicities are crazy. Then again, these characters get the front stage. Oh no, it's just fucking J-Lo anyway. Never mind. I'm seeing if there's a lot of repeated info here. It looks like not so much. Or how about this? Drop a 1 in chat if you want to watch this. If I should play this last video, it'll be about 50 minutes on 1.5 speed, so it'll be about under 40 minutes. Or if you think I should just shut her down. What do you think? Drop a 1 if you want to watch it. Drop a 2 if I should shut her down. I should just make decisions on my own. But I figure if there are people who want to watch it, then it's worth playing. It does look interesting. I do like covering all bases, if possible. I'll read this little text here. It says St. Valentine was famously executed on February 14th in the 3rd century AD, allegedly. However, according to ancient accounts, more than one St. Valentine was executed on that same day in the same century. Valentine's Day started as a Christian celebration of this martyrdom and, fueled by romantic poets and writers, gradually morphed into a broader celebration of love. In ancient Rome, Lupercalia was celebrated on February 15th every year. It was a wild pagan celebration of sex, violence, and fertility. The word Lupercalia is likely derived from lupus, the Latin word for wolf. The name of the festival was probably referencing Romulus and Remus, the founders of ancient Rome, who, according to legend, were raised by a female wolf. Lupercalia is also connected with Lupercus, a Roman fertility god. Pagan love festival. So yeah, drop a 1 if you want to check it out. Drop a 2 if I should get the hell out of here. You all to get the hell out of here as well. Get the heck out of here. Get the heavens out of here and hit the ether. All right, it looks like no one has a vote, so that's my sign to get out of here. So a little bit of music, I think, is an appropriate way to get out of here. I love you all. Wow, this has 78,000 views already, supposedly, in just a matter of a few hours.
One night, you were mine. It all started. Yeah, baby. It all started so mysteriously. Oh, way you looked at me.
Peace.
Wanted you there. Disappearing on my cat. All I wanted in the world was you. Only one I ever needed. See me through. it was alright. Then you came a little closer. No, your eyes were the sky. Ooh, put the vibe on me. Oh, you made me see. You made me see it. You made me dream it. You made me be it. Yeah, you made me misbehave, and now I never want to do it the same again, baby. Made me want it more, want it bad, want it better. Wanted me to change the bad weather. Maybe want to be a better person, manipulate my mind, improvise, improve, and that motivate, make it higher, make it mine. Yo, you're my desire, anything that you wanted, I'll be getting this. All the things that I wanted, I got. Hey, yo, you spoiling me with your fucking fat ass. You spoiling me while I'm grabbing and I'm looking at, You spoiling me while I'm getting the juice. You spoiling me while I'm looking at you, licking you loose. You spoiling me while I got you in the bed. You spoiling me, got you when I'm giving you head. You spoiling me, baby, yo, it's Valentine's Day. Spoiling me each and every way. I'm telling you, you got to be as book and dick and super. Oh, listen to that. Ooh. Yeah, that's a Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. It's good to see. I hope everyone's. I know there's probably not going to be that many people on here because it's a holiday. People are probably enjoying their lives, but if you're here enjoying with me, hey, it's good to see everybody. We're live on Facebook, Instagram. We make a little post about it so that y'all can let everyone know that I'm here and we're fucking around. Yeah, now you can't get it down.
Be my Valentine. Yeah. Be my Valentine. Yeah. Be my motherfucking Valentine. Yeah. 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 Be my motherfucking Valentine. Yeah. Okay. Yo, I got you candy. I got you flowers. I got you greeting card. Be my motherfucking Valentine. I got you car, got you helicopter. Be my motherfucking Valentine. Hey yo, I know you haven't responded to my calls, my texts, my letters, my emails, my FaceTimes. I know you haven't talked to me in 10, 15 years. It's okay. I got you all the stuff. I parked it outside your house. Be my Valentine. Be my Valentine. Be my Valentine. Be my Valentine. It's all I want, baby. Be my Valentine. Be my Valentine. Be my Valentine. It's all I want, baby. Be
Fine. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. In that, no. That's gonna be a soundbite.